Chapter 1308. The little tiger that Zhang Xiaobao was talking about was indeed a little tiger, but it didn't mean that this kind of tiger couldn't grow up. It was just that the tiger itself was small. He also knew that there were many tigers of the same species in this area, but he didn't plan to kill them. This was a national first-class protected animal at his time. He also didn't think that killing a tiger would show his heroism. The number of tigers had always been small, but because tigers were active in a wide area, it caused people to be afraid of them. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came over, they brought anesthetic bullets. Wang Wan also carried an anesthetic gun on her back. When they encountered a strong animal, they would directly use the anesthetic gun to kill it. It was just hunting, not risking their lives. Quan Moa was still worried. He didn't know the function of the gun on Wang Wan's back, and it looked different from the gun she used before. So he worriedly reminded, "What if the little tiger is meeting up with its family? That's impossible." We didn't hear the cries of the little tiger. At the same time, there weren't any large tiger footprints on the ground. This means that this is a lonely little male tiger. I want to find a companion for it. Isn't it cruel to lock it up in a zoo in Beijing? When Zhang Xiaobao thought about how the tiger was still alive and well, yet you had to catch it and lock it up for others to see, he felt that someone would stand up and say something about animal protection. However, Zhang Xiaobao chose the wrong person. When Quan Moa heard Zhang Xiaobao's words, he was puzzled. Cruel. Are we going to feed it directly when we put it in a zoo? Yes, it's not good to let it come out and find its own food. What if it eats people? As long as we catch it, it won't be able to come out of the cage. Zhang Xiaobao squatted down and carefully observed the grass under his feet. Isn't that good? It doesn't have to work hard to catch prey. It can eat and sleep when it wants. It's already good that we didn't kill it, but we still feed it meat. Life is really good. Quan Moa suddenly felt that if he became a tiger and was caught, he would have food and drink. His life would be very good. Zhang Xiaobao felt that he couldn't communicate with Quan Moa. Freedom. No one would want to be locked up in a cage. He would rather live a poor life than be unable to leave the cage and be surrounded by people at the same time. Wang Wan chuckled and said, "Don't worry about what the tiger thinks. But catch it first, catch it, and then go back." The children who often go to the zoo say that one less tiger is not extinct. Only those who have nothing to do will consider the feelings of the tiger. People are tired of living. Why should we care about the tiger if we don't care about the people? That makes sense. Maybe it's because they want to flaunt their kindness and find a bunch of excuses to overthrow the nature of the world's law of the jungle. If everyone was really so kind, the world would be at peace long ago, and no one in Africa would starve to death. Anyway, I'll eat whatever I want, even if it's a panda, as long as I have the money. As for what other people think, I don't care. I always feel that this so-called kindness to animals is hypocritical. This kind of person is only using animals to show their kindness. In fact, they don't even think about their own kind from the perspective of kindness. Is that so? Zhang Xiaobao lowered his head and carefully sniffed the smell of a pile of feces. He nodded and changed direction to chase. Quan Moa felt disgusted. He didn't expect that this person, who had absolute status in the Tang Empire, would actually do something like sniffing other people's feces. He resisted the urge to vomit and followed Zhang Xiaobao. When Wang Wan passed by the feces, she also bent down to smell it and got up to chase. She didn't care about being disgusted. She was a tyrant flower. In some ways, she was the same kind of person as Xiaobao. In her eyes, there were only tasks and goals, and there was no sense of self. So what if she smelled tiger feces? If there was a need, so what if she tasted human feces? At least she could make a simple judgment whether the other party had diabetes or not. At that moment, she was just a tool. It wasn't like she hadn't practiced sneaking in feces before. What was wrong with that? In the pursuit of life, other than being alive, everything else was empty. This little tiger is quite cautious, changing directions back and forth. Where's its home? We have to reach it before the animal activists find it, catch it successfully, and move it immediately. Zhang Xiaobao was tired of chasing and said funny things to relax. Wang Wan also wiped the sweat on her forehead. As long as there is an attribution in front of the activists, then it is hypocritical. Animals are protected, so why can't plants be protected? This is a very interesting situation. For plants, animal activists feel that they can eat as much as they want, but they don't protect the animals that need protection the most, humans, because they feel the humans are at the top of the food chain. According to this, are carnivores at the top of vegetarian animals? Will they attack carnivores in order to protect herbivores? No, because they feel that this is natural elimination. The basic theory is reflected in the fact that animals are not as smart as humans. But are plants smarter than animals? Are the lives of plants not lives? Therefore, their kindness is selective. Isn't that so? People say that they can be killed, but not abused. As a human, it is better to live a bad life than to die a good death. Tell me, to a person who has committed a death sentence, what would he choose if he were to be whipped every day, but not killed, or directly killed and not whipped? I am not saying that I don't want to protect animals. If they are rare, then I will protect them. The purpose is different. They protect animals because they think that they are animals and feel pity for them. I protect animals because I want to let these animals live so that the people of Tang Empire can recognize them and see them with their own eyes. Therefore, animal activists are hypocrites who flaunt their sincerity. They are narrow-minded people who show their love for humanity. The best way to describe them is that they have nothing better to do. Zhang Xiaobao also said. Quan Moa looked at Zhang Xiaobao and then at Wang Wan. She begged, "Can the two of you speak human language? I don't understand." Zhang Xiaobao looked at Quan Moa with a happy expression. He said to Wang Wan, "Look, our brother Moa understands thoroughly. Why didn't I think of this? I should say this to animal activists. Can you speak human language? I don't understand." "Okay, you don't have a chance to say this. Where's the tiger?" Wang Wan pitted Quan Moa. He followed the two of them. Most people would not understand the communication between the two of them. It was a connection that transcended time and space. No matter what she said, it was a kind of happiness for her to come here with Xiaobao. If it was her, even if there was a man who cherished her, would he understand if she told him that the main purpose of the aircraft carrier was to provide a landing and supply platform for planes? That was a kind of indescribable loneliness. "Xiaobao, it is good to have you," Wang Wan said to Zhang Xiaobao. Quan Moa frowned. "The two of you can still say such mushy things at this time. It is good to have you." Zhang Xiaobao held the binoculars and replied, "Because you have the anesthetic gun on your back. Look through the binoculars. On the left, about 20 degrees, which is the direction of 10 o'clock, there is a beautiful little tiger. It is looking at me. Quick, take the gun down and climb up the tree. I hope it has not practiced this skill. Who said that tigers can't climb trees? That is because the big tiger is too heavy. The small one can climb up. Choose a place. I will cover. You prepare to shoot. We need a bait. What should we do? Don't look at me. I'm not going to rush over." Quan Moa finally understood Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's words at the critical moment. Okay. Let me observe first to see if it is full. I hope it is hungry, so that it will be interested in us. I can't tell. Let me calculate. Cuckoo, you go forward first. If the tiger runs over, you run to me. I will support you up the tree behind. If it has not come over, you first occupy the commanding position. I will follow and send you to the tree 30 meters in front. I will continue to move forward and lure it over." Zhang Xiaobao analyzed and said to Wang Wan. Wang Wan immediately picked up the gun and walked forward. At the same time, she observed her feet. She did not want to be tripped while running. This kind of low-level mistake would lose face for Ba Wang Flower. Even if she knew that she would fall, Xiaobao could make her not be in a dangerous situation. What about me?" Quan Moa asked anxiously. Xiaobao did not seem to mention what she should do. "You go up the tree first. I will give you binoculars to play with. Remember to return it to me later. You're not qualified to have it." Zhang Xiaobao handed over his binoculars. Quan Moa excitedly received it and looked at Zhang Xiaobao worriedly and asked, "What about you? Go up quickly. Do you still need binoculars more than 300 meters? Before, I was looking for the target. Now that the target has been determined, how can I not keep an eye on it from 300 meters away? How can other people snipe from 800 meters to 1,000 meters without a scope?" Zhang Xiaobao urged. He took out a tri-edged thorn and approached Wang Wan. Wang Wan had already climbed up and squatted at a height of more than 4 meters. She used a tree branch to block herself and held the tranquilizer gun horizontally. Zhang Xiaobao came to the tree where Wang Wan was and threw away all the tri-edged thorns except for the one in his hand. Then, he began to tidy up his clothes and shoes. After thinking for a while, he took off his shirt and exposed his upper body. He moved his arms and made 2 small jumping movements. Then, he observed the position below Wang Wan and walked towards the little tiger that had been staring at him. Every step was almost the same distance. Wang Wan, who was on the tree, licked her lips and took a deep breath. Then, she no longer paid attention to Zhang Xiaobao. She instantly entered the best sniping state. Zhang Xiaobao continued to move forward. He swung his wrist and shouted at the little tiger, "Come, baby, come to brother." When the tiger heard the call, or rather, the provocation, it got up and ran toward Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao turned around and narrowed his eyes. He stared at the little tiger and estimated the distance between the tiger's speed and the tree that Wang Wan was at. He also estimated the distance between his speed and the tree that Wang Wan was at. When the tiger was 150 meters away from Zhang Xiaobao turned around and ran. He took 20 steps and jumped, flying below Wang Wan. He grabbed the tree branch beside him with one hand and played with the tri-edged thorn with the other hand. Then bang! Wang Wan fired. Over. That's a tranquilizer gun, not an anti-material sniper rifle. It's still running. Fuck, it's really pouncing. Go down, go down. Yes, brother, you can't. If you come up from this height, I'll stab you. Just as Zhang Xiaobao said a few words, the little tiger had already come over. It jumped and wanted to bite him. Zhang Xiaobao gently poked its nose with a tri-edged thorn. It howled and tilted its head and fell down. Chapter 1309. In the end, the little tiger didn't manage to eat the people on the tree. It was numb in its heart. Zhang Xiaobao waited for a while before breaking off a tree branch and throwing it at the little tiger. Seeing that it still didn't move, he jumped down and took out a rope to tie the little tiger's limbs. The effect of the medicine is not bad. I've tested it on pigs and monkeys before. This is the first time I've used it on a tiger. There are still tigers here. We have to cherish them in the future. We can't kill them all. Wang Wan's last words were directed at Quan Moa. Quan Moa didn't think much of it and explained, tigers eat sheep and also people. Rhinoceroses are also very destructive. No matter how powerful they are, how can they be compared to people? There will be people to protect you. Only when the number of tigers and rhinoceroses reaches a certain level can you apply to kill them. Otherwise, you will be violating the laws of the Tang Empire. Carry them. Naturally, Wang Wan did not carry the prey. Zhang Xiaobao and Quan Mo cut down a branch and threaded it through the rope. The two of them, one in front and one at the back, lifted the tiger and walked back. Today, they did not hunt other prey. Wang Wan looked back at the dense forest and the sound of birds chirping. She muttered, "In the future, our children can't only see the tigers and rhinoceroses that appeared in Yunnan on TV. Dianchi Lake isn't the only beautiful place here. India is not bad. At least there's something left behind." Zhang Xiaobao heard Wang Wan's words and added. Quan Moa couldn't understand. Why was India not bad? What was left behind? He was more concerned about the thing used to kill the tiger. He held the tree branch on his shoulder and asked curiously, "Can you kill the tiger without killing it? After the tiger dies, it won't feel anything. Can you kill a person with a gun? It depends on where you hit. If you hit the heart, neck, and eyes, there will be death." Zhang Xiaobao smiled and said, "What I mean is to hit the legs and buttocks close to the body. Sometimes there will be pus and blood in the wound. It will be very painful to cut it with a knife. If you hit a person with the thing used to kill a tiger and cut it again, won't it not hurt?" Quan Mo thought about the practical aspect, which was reflected in medical treatment. Zhang Xiaobao was walking behind him, so he couldn't see Quan Mo's expression. However, he was very surprised. He didn't care if the other party could see him. He nodded. "It's already in use. There's no need to shoot with a gun. It's similar to a tranquilizer bullet. There's a small needle in front of it. There's also the inhalation anesthesia that's currently being researched. When you take a breath, you'll feel numb. You won't feel any pain when you cut your body with a knife. The amount is hard to control, so they're experimenting with monkeys. Poor monkeys, they've made great contributions to humanity, but unfortunately, they don't have white mice. Quantumoa did not understand what the white mouse could do, but he was surprised by the great Tang's methods. If the previous bombs were used to attack, the anesthetic now was used to protect the people. Quantumoa had never been to the Great Tang before, so he had only heard bits and pieces from the merchants, especially when it came to weapons. In the past, he had thought that the stories were exaggerated, but now that he had seen the real thing, he began to believe the merchants. Xiao Bao, is it troublesome to return the tribe to the Great Tang? Quantumoa finally couldn't help but ask the question in his heart. It's not troublesome. As long as you admit it and return to your hometown, we'll immediately set up the framework. We'll send medical personnel to the area first. I know that you need people who can treat illnesses the most. Although there are many people there, it's not a problem to send a few people. At the same time, you can study the local diseases and medicinal herbs. Zhang Xiaobao was very happy and looked forward to the local people returning to the Great Tang. If they became a family, the local resources could be put to good use. In the future, they could use this as a logistics base for expansion. There are also gems. Zhang Xiaobao thought of the local specialties and said, "Yes, I'll give you some when we go back." Quantumoa thought that Zhang Xiaobao wanted some. Zhang Xiaobao quickly replied, "No, I'm just saying, you can't mine too hard, especially destructive ones. In order to get a gem, you'll destroy more gems. The wealth underground should be left to future generations as much as possible. If we want to use gems, we can snatch them from other countries." "Oh, I mean exchange." Quantumoa couldn't follow Zhang Xiaobao's train of thought. He didn't understand why they wanted to leave it to future generations. There were many gems in the ground, and they could be dug up as much as they wanted. If they wanted to exchange them from other places, they would have to pay something. But he didn't refute. Since they didn't want to dig, he wouldn't dig first. The only thing that worried him was that if he didn't take out the gems, how could he exchange for valuable things with other places in the Great Tang? As if guessing Quantumoa's thoughts, Wang once said to him, "Your wealth isn't just gems. For me and Xiaobao, your gems are nothing. As long as they have value, it's nothing more than a matter of money. Compared to gems, we care more about you. People are the most precious. You just have one less opportunity. Wait for our people to guide you. You don't have to worry about exchanging with other places in the future. You can form your own caravan. After hunting for more food, slaves will come over to help build the road. If there aren't enough slaves, we will spend money to hire Indians to work. There are also places like Zhenla and other places. Don't spend money on others. We can fix it ourselves. Use the money on us." Quantumoa's thoughts were simple. Many people were like him. You have jobs that earn more money. For example, you could be a supervisor and see if other people are lazy when they are working. The money you get will be much more than the people who are working, Zhang Xiaobao explained. If we work and supervise, won't we get more money? Quantumoa said to Zhang Xiaobao, "Do you have so many people? I need the road to be paved as soon as possible. It will be smooth and suitable for large groups of people to pass through quickly. I won't wait for you to fix it bit by bit. Your lives are not as good as those in the prosperous places of the Great Tang. It's not because you were born poor, but because of the inconvenience of transportation. Many resources can't be transported out, many resources can't be used, and the outside world needs your resources very much. A road is a hope. Those who haven't experienced it will never know." Zhang Xiaobao was trying to influence Quantumoa, hoping that he would change his mind as soon as possible. There was a wider world outside. Quantumoa acknowledged again. Although he didn't understand, he believed that Xiaobao wouldn't lie to him. Previously, he thought that Xiaobao and Cuckoo had more than 10,000 people, and that it would be easy for them to attack his tribe. There were no old or weak people in the group, and they would have more people who could fight if they attack his tribe. Now, he understood that they didn't need to send too many people to attack his tribe. A few dozen people could kill his tribe. With such ability, why would they need to lie to him? Thinking about military force, Quantumoa recalled what the merchants had said. As long as the people of the Great Tang were bullied, The great Tang would send troops to help them take revenge. Thinking that he would be a great Tang person in the future, he wanted to ask clearly. So he said, "What if the people of my tribe are bullied by the people of other tribes? Will you help?" It depends on what tribe it is. The one with the surname Ming? That's an internal problem. In the future, you will need to cooperate with them and have the protection of the law. It won't be like the people of India. If they kill one of your people, we will immediately kill hundreds of people in India and even drag down the king of some small country. What about the sick Zhao? Quan and Moa asked again. Even now, I still don't understand what the sick Zhao are planning. In truth, you should have noticed that there are many habits that don't differ much between the two of you. What Huan and I are thinking about is bringing the sick Zhao into the Great Tang. They have more people, and after they are incorporated, a large part of them will need to be scattered all over the Great Tang, including you and the people with the surname Ming. To put it bluntly, we want to assimilate you. Otherwise, we will need more time to slowly influence you. We can't wait. Otherwise, it will be easy for us to rely on the local area as a place for logistics, and you will cause a fire in our backyard. How miserable will my life be? Zhang Xiaobao didn't hide his purpose in the slightest and directly stated it for Quan and Moe to hear. Sometimes, one could be a little more sincere in communication. It was better to speak openly than to play dirty tricks behind one's back. Although Quan and Moe didn't understand some of the words, he could guess the meaning. He nodded and said, "I'm also very afraid that when I lead the warriors on the front lines to fight, there will be betrayals behind me. When the time comes and you migrate people, will they still be able to come back?" It's not a migration. It's a recruitment method to call people over to work and give them more money. They have to bring their families and, at the same time, let them see the outside world. If they have time, they can come back if they want to. It's not forcing them. You can rest assured that Cuckoo and I will never do anything to harm you. You won't understand even if I tell you. In any case, we are family. Zhang Xiaobao gave his promise to Quan and Moe. Quan and Moe truly couldn't understand. They clearly had powerful martial strength, but they were still negotiating with him. He had the same weapon, and he had long ago conquered the people with the surname Ming and the sick Zhao. And it seemed that Xiaobao and Cuckoo weren't stupid. Why do they treat him like this? Unable to figure it out, Quan and Moe decided not to think about it anymore and promised, "Okay, when my king comes, I'll persuade him. Okay, this time I'll give you 5 spears and a handgun, 1,000 bullets for the spear and 30 bullets for the handgun. We'll train you for a few days, and the bullets will be on us. As for the small cannon, I won't give it to you. It's not easy to use it, and it'll be bad if it explodes. Consider it a benefit for you." Zhang Xiaobao mentioned the matter of weapons. This was something that Quan and Moe really wanted, but he didn't mention it before. If it were him, he felt that he wouldn't have agreed. He didn't expect Xiao Bao to be so easy to talk to. He didn't even ask for it, and already gave it to him. Considering that he would have weapons to protect his tribe in the future, Quan and Moe was happy at first, but then he asked Zhang Xiaobao suspiciously, "Aren't you afraid that we'll shoot you with weapons? We're family. If you really shoot at us, don't blame me and Cuckoo for being ruthless," Zhang Xiaobao said frankly. "I'm just asking. We're family." Quan and Moe was relieved. He believed that he would get the weapons, not Xiao Bao's casual words. Wang suggested, "Xiao Bao, let's give them some money. Give them a few thousand strings of coins, enough for them to buy things with merchants, such as advanced farming tools. I see that their plows are all made of wood." "No, Xiao Bei and the others will definitely give it to us. I know the little guys too well. They never run out of money. They always find a reason to give it to others and use it on their children. Fortunately, our education didn't fail. They only care about the children of the Tang Empire. They don't care about the children of other countries." When Zhang Xiaobao talked about his younger siblings, the smile on his face became brighter. The corners of Wang's mouth also curled up. Every time she thought of her younger siblings, she felt very happy. Quan and Moe also liked Xiao Bei and the others very much. At a glance, he felt that they were better than other children. Moreover, they were also good-looking. He hoped that when he had children in the future, they would be like Xiao Bei and the others. So he asked, "Xiao Bao, are the children taught in the Tang Empire the same as Xiao Bei And the others? Do they have money? Ah, same? Haha. Do you know how much effort Cuckoo and I put into their education? If I use this energy to make money, I could sell half of the land in the Tang Empire. Speaking of which, others can also teach well, but it's too difficult. If they're not their own children, who would be willing to teach them like this? As for money, they have their own businesses. In fact, it's all managed by the inner courtyard of the family. They just came up with ideas, but Cuckoo and I support them. They get less than 6 million strings of coins a year, and more in the future. They use about 2 million strings of coins, of which more than 700,000 strings of coins are used in children's medical research. This is really expensive, so they have to invest in it themselves. But in the future, the money spent will increase. We can't always let businessmen pay for all the school fees. In the past, there was no way, but now we have free hands. When it came to education, Zhang Xiaobao was still very conceited. He and Wang Wan taught their younger siblings with knowledge that was beyond this era, and the results were quite good. Quan Imoa was not most concerned about education, but money. He was not like his son, who did not know much about the Tang Empire's money. He knew how many things could be bought with the Tang Empire's money. When he found out that the 9 children could earn millions of strings of coins a year, he even had the thought of robbing them. Even if he only robbed half of the money they earned every year, it was enough for the people in the tribe to enjoy for several lifetimes. You don't want their money? Quanimo did not understand. It wasn't easy for them to find a way to make money. How can we take it and use it? In fact, they put the money in the bank, and I use it. Besides, the family doesn't lack their money. Zhang Xiaobao said with a smile. That money? How much money do you have? Quan Imoa was even more surprised. Not much. It's a little less than the Tang Empire's national treasury, and we spent a lot of it. We put it into disaster relief and research, and we have to pay for the dam and artificial canal in Dianchi Lake. When His Majesty sees where we go, he will never give us a penny for construction costs. It's sad to say, Zhang Xiaobao said casually, not forgetting to complain. I'm sad too. Quan Imoa followed. He finally knew what the words rich enough to rival a country meant. According to this, the little guys really did not have much money. He had the idea of kidnapping Xiao Bao and Cuckoo again. The 3 of them talked as they walked. Time passed quickly. When they arrived at the place they had discussed, the others had not returned yet. Instead, King Tsuange was waiting there. Quan Imoa was surprised again. He put down the tiger that had opened its eyes and ran to King Tsuange. He asked, King, you came so quickly. I received the news as soon as Xiao Bao and Cuckoo arrived here. I only met the people you sent when I was almost there. The world is changing, King Tsuangue said weakly. He was different from the locals. He had lived in the capital for a while and knew the strength of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan too well. How could he not come in person? When Zhang Xiaobao heard King Tsuangue's words, he knew that the other party did not want to surrender to the Tang Empire. He was the king here. If he really surrendered, his status would decline. But Zhang Xiaobao would not make any concessions or compromises for the other party alone. Zhang Xiaobao cupped his hands and bowed. Bohai Provincial Governor greets King Tsuangue. Wang Wan followed. Bohai Deputy Provincial Governor greets King Tsuangue. Both of them were 1 rank lower than King Tsuangue. King Tsuangue was a prince, rank 1. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang were rank 3 as provincial governors. But the Bohai Commander-in-Chief's mansion was too big. If they were promoted by 1 rank, they would be rank 2. King Tsuangue nervously returned the greeting. Xiaobao Cuckoo. Greetings. King Tsuangue did not dare to be arrogant. The 2 people in front of him were not sheep. When he was in the capital, he knew that they did not greet the emperor of the Tang Empire. Who dared to be presumptuous in front of them? Other than the Minister of Works, Zhang Zhong, the great General Gao Lishur was the only one who was qualified to receive their bow. Now that he was greeted by them, King Tsuangue sighed and said, What should come will come. It's not that I want to criticize you. How is your life compared to the people in the capital? You should be a good king. Now, I want you to be independent. Are you willing? Do you want me to talk to you in the capacity of king? Zhang Xiaobao was not polite at all and went straight to the point. He did not have time to beat around the bush. King Chuangui suddenly smiled. I've already thought about it on the way here. Living near a powerful country, even if the powerful country doesn't attack, is like living in a crevice. It's uncomfortable, but I have a request. You want me to send people to govern the place. I will discuss with you first to ensure your interests. At the same time, I will teach you more and provide you with full support, especially in terms of military power. I will not oppress you. Is that right? Zhang Xiaobao did not wait for King Xuangue to finish and continued. Xiaobao is indeed Xiaobao. I have learned a lot. Everyone says that you are good at scheming. Now that I hear you, I am relieved. King Xuangue looked at Zhang Xiaobao and bowed again. Zhang Xiaobao accepted it calmly. Wang Wan also stepped forward and accepted it. King Xuangue smiled. Quan Moa was confused. What were they talking about? King, you... Quan Moa asked. Since Xiao Bao can speak for me, it means that his plan is better and better than mine. When it comes to building a place, I am far behind Xiao Bao. They have accepted my Bao, so naturally, they will sincerely work for the Tsonggui clan. They can seize the power of the great Tang, but not seize it. Why should I care about the power in name? Have you seen their weapons? You have not been to the great Tang and have not seen how they live. With a powerful country nearby, whether my Tsonggui clan returns or not will not affect them much, but will affect us greatly. I do not want to be attacked by them from afar. We will not have any power to resist. King Tsonggui said to Quan Moa. Quan Moa sighed. He had seen those weapons, but he also felt sad for his king. After all, he had to give up power and be happy for his clan. With the support of Xiao Bao and Cuckoo, their lives would be better in the future. He was very conflicted. Chapter 13:10. King Xuangue had just met with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to confirm the real integration of the two into one. From a moment he agreed, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan could invest in the local area without any need to sign any contracts or documents. Verbal promises were enough. At the same time, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also took on the responsibility of making the local people live a better life after receiving King Xuangue's gift. At this time, people began to come back from hunting. Each group was made up of people from the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang families and the local people. They interfered with each other a little, but didn't deliberately cause trouble. The warriors in the tribe thought that they were more familiar with the terrain than the Tang people. At the same time, they knew the local trees and wild animals, so they could have a big advantage. When the competition started, they found that the opponent was also familiar with everything they were familiar with. Moreover, the opponent moved faster than them, attacked more accurately, and was more powerful. Large and small animals were carried back. The rest of the people in the tribe all came out and planned to hold a big bonfire banquet. They also contributed the local sweet wine. Zhang Xiaobao took out strong wine. When they checked the game, they found that the prey of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang families was only a dozen more than the prey of the warriors in the tribe, and the size was not much different. The only difference was the place where the wild animals were attacked. Most of the attacks by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang families were fatal. There was only a small wound on a wild boar. It was pierced directly from the neck to the heart by a tri-edged thorn, and then it bled to death. The people in the tribe were all shocked. That was a wild boar. Who killed it? Wild boars had teeth. Zhang Xiaobao looked at the wound and also had a lingering fear. He scolded Zhang Dufeng of the No. 1 protection team. Who asked you to take the risk? It's just a hunt, not a hand-to-hand fight with the enemy. Is it worth risking your life? Zhang Dufeng, who was scolded, lowered his head and didn't say anything. He just rubbed one arm. Obviously, he was injured. No one knew what he did when facing the wild boar, but he was able to stab the tri-edged thorn into the wild boar's heart. The people in the tribe looked at Zhang Dufeng as if he was a hero, which made the warriors in the tribe who participated in the competition feel very sad. They already knew that if they were to fight with the other party, the chances of winning were very low. Looking at the wounds on the other party's prey, it meant that the other party was more powerful. Fan Fan jumped out to liven up the atmosphere and said, "There are quite a lot of complete skins. When they are cooked, they don't need to be processed. They can be sold directly to the rich people in prosperous areas. They will like to collect them. I'll buy them all." No one said anything, so he had to add, "Let's exchange. I'll exchange the goods I brought with you. It's all on Brother Imoa's tribe. After all, I hunted in your place, and you even provided a place to barbecue." "I think it's fine." Zhang Xiaobao agreed. "We don't need leather, and we don't lack the goods that Boss Fan brought. Just give us a few pieces of meat that we can't eat." Quan Imo was not pretentious. His tribe really needed things, especially now that the autumn harvest season had not yet arrived. The previous stock of food was almost used up, and it was a time of shortage. There was a great demand for goods brought by merchants. It was better than eating wild vegetables every day. Fan Fan was very happy, as if he had won the lottery. He had already thought about it. He would give a very high price in exchange for the leather and wild boar teeth. After leaving, he would go directly to the capital and hold an auction there. He would reveal the source of the leather, which represented the honor of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family. He believed that many rich people would rush to raise the price. When the prey was put on the grill, the children of the tribe, Xiaobei, and the other 9 people also came back from the river. The children burped one by one. Obviously, they were full from eating fish. Xiaobei did not forget to remind Quan Imo's children, "When spring comes next year, you go up the mountain to pick tea leaves. I will help you package them and sell them at a high price. We can't do it in China. There are too many places with tea leaves, so we have to sell them outside." "People outside like to drink tea leaves?" Quan Imo's son asked. "It's not a matter of liking. It's that they admire the Tang Empire. If the Tang people say that this thing is good, they think it's good. For example, if I say that it's comfortable to wear, when they wear it, they will definitely agree with me. It's comfortable, especially the feeling of the rough linen on the body. It's very comfortable." Xiaobei gave an example. The children thought that others were really stupid. When they saw that there was a bonfire barbecue, they all began to regret it. They had eaten too much just now. Xiaobei and the other 9 people were happy. They only ate one fish together. After tasting it, they stopped and gave more fish to the local children to eat. Quan Imo's son saw his father in the crowd and immediately ran over. He carefully took out a stack of money from his arms and handed it to his father. He said, "Dad, this money is 10,000 strings of cash. Xiaobei gave it to our children. You." When Quan Imo heard that it was 10,000 strings of cash, he reached out to grab it. He suddenly stopped and said to his son, "Since it's for you, keep it well. Don't use it recklessly. When the merchants come to buy things, tell me." Quan Imo was very jealous of the 10,000 strings of cash from the Tang Empire. He hoped that he could hold it in his hands. However, when he suddenly remembered what Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had said in the forest just now, he felt that he was too stingy to take the money in front of others. You want money given to children by children? His son seemed to have become more sensible. He said to his father, "Dad, we want to take out a part of it first and let the knowledgeable people of the Tang Empire come over to be our teachers. We'll make some money ourselves and give it to our teachers in the future. There's no need for that. We brought a very good teacher for you. His name is Tan Sikong. You just need to give him a place to live, make the same clothes for him, and eat the same food for him. You don't need to give him any extra money." Xiaobei thought of a person. He looked around and didn't see him. He sent someone to call him. Quan Imo showed a troubled expression. If a teacher comes to teach the children, it's not right to not give him the best things. It's right. He made a mistake. He'll be punished to teach the children. Otherwise, we'll arrange a mine for him to dig. If he dares to not teach you properly, the people left behind by my family will teach him a lesson. Xiaobei finally arranged for Tan Sikong to come down. There was no place that was more remote than this place. Tubo was better than the local area. It was just right to punish Tan Sikong. When the whole deer was roasted until it was glistening with oil, Tan Sikong was brought to the bonfire party. He seemed to be in good spirits. The clothes on his body were changed in a good cloth, and his face was healthy and rosy. This showed that no one deliberately mistreated him while he was traveling with the group. Everyone gave him whatever they had. Tan Sikong already knew that he would be teaching in the local area. When he arrived, he directly went to Xiaobei and didn't look for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Along the way, he could tell that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were supportive of most of the decisions made by the 9 children. Since he was caught by Xiao Bei and the others, they naturally had to take care of him. In the future, you have to stay and teach the local children well. 2 years. After 2 years, we'll see how the local children learn. If they learn well, you can go wherever you want. We won't restrict you anymore. Do you agree? Xiao Bei seemed to be very magnanimous when he said these words. He even asked if Tan Sikong agreed. The children in the tribe immediately looked at Tan Sikong with longing. Tan Sikong laughed bitterly. I'm very happy to be able to impart my knowledge to the children here. As long as I can eat and dress well, it's fine. Muan, don't worry. It's spring here all year round. I believe that they will provide you with many furs to use as bedding. Most of them are sheepskin. If you want tiger furs, I don't dare. From today onwards, I won't use tiger furs anymore. Tan Sikong was very afraid when he heard the words tiger furs. Wasn't he caught because of tiger furs? Eat the meat, drink the wine, and try the local game. Xiao Bei invited. Tan Sikong looked around and hesitated. He then gathered his courage and squeezed with the people in the tribe. When he saw people, he smiled. The people in the tribe didn't treat Tan Sikong like how Xiao Bei treated him. They looked at him with eyes full of respect. When he smiled, the people in the tribe also smiled and echoed his words. As for what he had done before he was caught by Xiao Bei, the people in the tribe didn't care. As long as he was willing to teach his children well, it was fine. Oh, there's one more thing. Xiao Bei then shouted to the people around Tan Sikong. He has the status of a high scholar. Whether it's teaching children, adults, or life matters, you can all ask him. He's quite capable. In the past few days with us, he's even read a lot of our books. High scholar? Quan Mo looked at the king beside him. King Quan Gui narrowed his eyes and nodded. He can be considered a capable person. Even in the Tang Empire, not every county has a high scholar as a teacher. You have to treat him well. Yes. Why aren't Xiao Bao and Cuckoo afraid that a capable person will stay in the team? Quan Mo felt that it was inconceivable. That child actually gave a high scholar to his tribe. Ha ha! King Quan Gui laughed. The more he laughed, the louder his laughter became. After laughing for a while, he stopped and said to Quan Mo, the people brought by Xiao Bao and Cuckoo, anyone the non-combat members is more capable than him. Even the combat members are not inferior to him. Tell me, is there a need to keep him? Xiao Bao and Cuckoo are both top scorers. They have the status of a high scholar. When they go to the capital and compete with other high scholars, the top scorers will be the top scorers. Quan Mo nodded. He understood and envied them. From this moment on, Tan Si started to receive high treatment. Someone served him sweet wine, and the person who was best at using a knife in the tribe cut meat for him to eat. Every time he took a bite, the person beside him would reveal a smile, looking more comfortable than if he were eating the meat himself. Eat, eat. Don't worry about me. I'll do it myself. I'm a sinner. I'm not worth it. He finally realized that there were things more precious than money in this world. He secretly thought that he should set up an education system in the local area first. He should teach every child well. Even if 2 years had passed, he should not leave early. He had to teach a batch of children. At the same time, he was very familiar with the way the Zhang family and Wang family did things. Every time they stayed in a place, they would definitely guide the development of the local area. This was also an opportunity for him. When there was nothing in the local area, he would stay. When the local area developed, his contributions would not be small. Chapter 13:11. King Chuangui was eating, but his mind was not on the food at all. When he saw Zhang Xiaobao helping his brothers and sisters cut the meat and the little ones looking for a place to eat, he moved closer to Zhang Xiaobao. Xiaobao, how many more days are you going to stay here? About 5 days. 5 days is enough to wait for Jinla's reaction. You can use this time to check the dam and the artificial river. When we will leave behind 200 people to help you manage the place, as well as the corresponding weapons and ammunition. Don't provoke the Meng tribe and lure them to attack so that you can use our hands to kill them. The people we leave behind will take the initiative to contact them. If you send people to help translate their words and try to sow discord, you know the consequences. Zhang Xiaobao gave a rough time and warned King Chuangui. King Chuangui agreed repeatedly in a good mood. He knew that even if they made contact, the Ming tribe would not be as cooperative as his side. It would take time. During this time, he could speed up the development of the Chuancha tribe. By the time the Ming tribe truly cooperated, his side would have already developed. He did not need to attack them. He just needed to see how their lives were not as good as his. King Chuangui even came up with a plan. The Ming tribe had many cows, sheep, and horses. He would first sell the grains to them at a low price in exchange for their livestock. Then, he would work hard to reproduce. After a few years, the Ming tribe would no longer have any advantage. Learning from Xiaobao, he would use economic means to attack. This would also vent his anger. As he thought about it, King Chuangui could not help but laugh. Zhang Xiaobao glanced at him and did not ask what he was thinking. Anyway, it was fine as long as he did not make trouble for him. The bonfire party ended when the sun set. It was so late that it could be considered a party. Zhang Xiaobao and the others left with a lot of smoked meat. Many of the locals were drunk. The wine was too strong and they were too relaxed. Many of the women were helped back to the village. The bonfire was extinguished, but the tribesmen's hearts were filled with hope. They sang and danced, unwilling to stop. 5 days passed quickly. News came from the border between Zhun and Laos that the people had arrived, and there weren't too many guards following them. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan left 200 people behind and told them the general idea of how to do things in the future. They also pointed out the location of the salt mine. After that, they packed up and set off to the west. The locals escorted them for more than 20 li before they reluctantly watched the large group of people disappear into the distance. They then turned around and returned to the stronghold. Over the past few days, they had learned a lot of practical knowledge from the teams of the Zhang family and Wang family. They had personally seen the people of the Zhang family and Wang family use the local bamboo, grass, and leather to make various tools that were more convenient to use. After learning them, they would participate in the production process so that they could use them in the future. Therefore, they trusted the Zhang family and the Wang family very much. They were absolutely sure that the other party was a good person. Quan and Moa complained to Fan Fan, saying that when the caravan came, they should have a lot of tools, but they didn't teach him. Fan Fan admitted that they had an agreement with the other caravans that they couldn't help the tribesmen too much. They didn't want others to learn from them, and they would lose their means of making money. While apologizing to Quan and Moa, he also explained the fundamental reason, which was that the Zhang family and Wang family were generous enough. Moreover, the more skills they had, the more they would know how difficult the path of skills was. At the same time, they would be more generous to those who didn't understand skills. Fan Fan apologized, but he didn't regret it. He told Quan and Moa, "When we came, you didn't belong to the Tang Empire, so why should we teach you skills? Xiao, Bao, and Cuckoo taught you skills, but they wouldn't teach Hinduism and duoshur. The Tang Empire was very strict about blocking skills. If one day Xiao, Bao, and Cuckoo taught the enemy skills before they surrendered, it would definitely be a trap. So, don't think that they are kind and amiable. It depends on who they are with. When Xiao Bao left, he promised me to develop here. He even gave me a loan. We should be closer." Fan Fan talked about cooperation again. He planned to raise fish and ornamental fish. He wanted to buy them at a high price and transport them to Dianchi Lake. He wanted to see if the fish would mutate in a special environment and get more beautiful fish. But he couldn't always keep an eye on them. He needed the help of trusted locals. How do we split the money? Quan and Moa could understand why Fan Fan and the other caravans blocked their skills in the past, but now they were talking about the problem of money. Before Xiao Bao left, he told him that human resources were precious. Even if the people who worked couldn't give anything in exchange, as long as they did things, they would get a lot of money. It's scary when people change their minds. 10 to 9. In the future, when the money is sold, I get 9, and you get 1. I have to transport the ornamental fish here first. Those fish are very precious, and I can guarantee that some of them will die. Although the interest of the loan is not good, I still have to hold down the funds. My savings bank has to generate profits. Then I have to bear the losses of the fish that die in accidents while I'm raising them here. If the mutated fish are uglier, I will continue to lose. Even if it succeeds, I will have to transport them back and let some of them die. There will be advertising costs. Anyway, I'm spending a lot of money, and you're just helping to look after them. The 10-to-9 ratio is not low. If I do business with you normally, I'll get 9 times the profit. Fan gestured a 1 and then a 9 as he spoke to Quan Mo. When Quan Mo heard the 10-to-9 ratio, he wanted to raise the price, but after listening to Fan's analysis, he felt that what he said made sense. He could only agree. Okay, 10-to-9. There's another plan. Put the sea fish in fresh water. You know the Yangtze River, right? Many fish from the sea swim here, and some from the Yangtze River swim to the sea. I'll transport a boat from there. If they survive, we'll circle a place in the pond and see if we can raise them. Still 10-to-9. Fan suggested another idea. Quantamoa still agreed, but he couldn't think of a better idea. Suddenly, he thought of a problem and asked, "How would I know how much you're selling them for? Also, I'm not sure how much you're spending. If you say 10-to-9, just name a number when the time comes. What should I do?" "Brother Mo, don't you trust me?" Fan looked at Quan Moa sadly. Quan Moa smiled embarrassedly. "I trust you. I'll do as you say. When the time comes, I'll send someone to find Xiao Bao. Didn't he say that any of their businesses can be used as a contact point? I'll get Xiao Bao to give you another guarantee." Fan was stunned. He blinked his eyes and nodded. "All right, go ahead. Wait for other merchants to come over. When you talk about various kinds of cooperation with them, remember to tell them at the end that you're looking for Xiao Bao. I can't be the only one who suffers losses." Quantamoa smiled slyly. Indeed, the mention of finding Xiao Bao was very useful. When Quan Moa and Fan mentioned the places where there were fish, many fishermen were puzzled. They came out of Fuzhou and then went fishing around a few small islands nearby. There were lighthouses on the islands. Their boats were not big, so they didn't dare to go too far. If they had a big boat, they could go to the distant sea to catch rare fish near the coast and sell them for more money. They could even go to Luqiao Island and bring goods to trade with the locals. The locals also fished. If they went there with empty boats, they could bring back some goods that didn't exist on the island. When they came back, they could fill the boat with fish. If they were lucky, they might even be able to obtain leather from other islands. Moreover, they didn't have to worry about being robbed by the people on the island. A large number of merchants had already negotiated with the tribes on the island. First, they would let the Tang Empire's gunboats show their power. Then, they would give them benefits. There were even merchants from the Tang Empire who arranged for people to be stationed on the island to act as a communication bridge. There were also rich people who specially chose a good place to build houses on the island. When they were bored, they would stay there for 10 days to half a month. The people on the island liked silk, vegetable oil, canned food, smoked chicken, roast duck, and so on. If they cooked a pot of wontons for the people on the island, they might be able to get fish and iron or as a gift. More interestingly, there were merchants who brought seeds to the island and asked the people on the island to help them plant them. After the harvest, the people on the island could choose a part of the seeds as a reward. They could also exchange other things. The people on the small fishing boat didn't have a good idea. If they risked it, they could get there, but it was not worth it. In the past few days, what made them puzzled was that the Tang Empire's ships had obviously increased. Usually, there was an armed boat 3 times the size of their fishing boat in a fishing area. There were usually a dozen people on the boat, and they all had spears. But since 2 days ago, there were 2 ships in each area. They could clearly see that there were machine guns on the ships. At the same time, they could see a patrol boat cruising by from time to time. The most puzzling thing was that there were hot air balloons flying in the sky. The people on the balloons were using binoculars to scan the sea. Occasionally, due to the height, they would find that the water in a certain area was different from other areas. They would also throw some oil paper with pencil writing on it. There were fishing boats that picked up the large schools of fish in the sea. The fishermen could follow the instructions and go fishing. It was very convenient. However, the fishermen definitely didn't think that the hot air balloons in the sky were specially sent to help them find fish. That was too extravagant. Furthermore, they could always see the people on the hot air balloons throwing floating objects into the water and then shooting them with their guns. It was obvious that they were training. The fishermen were a little nervous, but they weren't afraid. As long as the imperial court didn't stop them from fishing, it meant that the imperial court had a way to protect them. If something big really happened, they would not let them go out to sea and hide first. Today, a group of fishing boats from Fuzhou was once again guided by the people on the hot air balloons. About 10 li to the southeast, the light reflected by the water was abnormal. They could try to go and check it out. The fishermen immediately became excited. Every time they said that, there would be schools of fish. Hence, the fleet changed direction and headed in that direction. The hot air balloons also followed in the sky. Sure enough, when they reached the place, the fishermen found that there were really a lot of fish. They just casually cast their nets. Just as they were happily catching fish, a fisherman looked up at the hot air balloon and suddenly found that the balloon was becoming smaller and smaller. He hurriedly shouted, "Don't worry about the fish. It's coming down. Is there a leak? Save people." The group of fishing boats changed direction and estimated the landing point of the hot air balloon. They paddled over with all their might. When they were still more than 100 meters away, the hot air balloon finally entered the sea. After a while, 4 people's heads popped out and swam towards the fishing boats. 2 patrol boats also approached. "Brother, what's wrong?" After pulling the 4 people up, the people on the boat asked with concern. "I don't know where it leaked and fell down. Bad luck. Everything fell into the sea. When we go back, tell them to design the hoist properly. We'll be fine." A person explained helplessly. "Brother, you came here to find fish for us?" Another person asked. "What fish? That's just on the way. We're looking for the boats of many people. We didn't find them anywhere else, but we suspect that they're in the Liuqiu area. That's why we have to strengthen the patrols in Chuanzhou and here. Let's not talk about it anymore. Transfer us to the Gar boat. You guys continue fishing." The person on the hot air balloon wiped the seawater on his face and said gloomily. Chapter 13:12. Don't do that. The escort ship is stable. My fishing boat is not bad either. It just doesn't have a machine gun. Tell me, I won't fish anymore. The people on the boat were very curious. They felt that compared to fish, getting information was more important. After talking to the people who fell from the hot air balloon, he shouted to the others, "Everyone spread out and go fishing. Catch more fish on each boat. Bring me my share. I'll tell you the news." What greeted him was a burst of laughter and scolding. The boats dispersed one after another. One of the escort boats approached, while the other continued to follow the group of fishing boats. The people on the boats were not in a hurry. There were 4 people on the hot air balloon. It was good that they were alive. They didn't feel bad if they lost their things. "Brother, drink some water. I have fresh water. You can wash your faces. My surname is Chun. My name is Chun Shihong. Others call me Ahong." The owner of the small fishing boat, who claimed to be Chun Shihong, said as he took out his water bag, "No, you can keep it. We're not that delicate. I can't tell you my name. I am airship number 576. Number 576 quickly stopped the other person from taking water. He pointed to the number embroidered on his chest and said. Chun Shihong still took the water and said, "Drink some. There is enough water. You can help us point out the fish. We can save time and have more water." "Brother, who did you say you were looking for?" "The fleet of duo cannibals. The exact number is unknown." Number 576 drank 2 mouthfuls of water and passed the water bag to the next person. "Why are duo cannibals here? Aren't they being beaten?" Chun Shihong was even more curious. "Yes, they're being beaten. So they want to catch the Tang people and threaten us." Chun Shihong suddenly realized, no wonder the Tang Empire's escort ships increased and you guys appeared. Damn duo cannibals. They can't beat us, so they only know how to scheme. Bah! Chun Shihong, who showed a disdainful expression, said angrily, "We should kill them all. They can't beat our soldiers and only know how to scheme against us fishermen." Number 576, you said they ran to Liuqiu? Will they cooperate with the local tribes on the island? Absolutely not. Number 576 said with certainty. After that, he began to take off his clothes and soak them in the sea. When the wind blew and the sun shone, there was a layer of salt on them. Soon, he was completely naked. He took the underwear from the guard ship and put it on. He looked at the hovering position of the hot air balloon with his arms bared. Qin Shi Huang originally thought that people who flew in the sky were all soft and delicate, but when he saw that the four of them were only wearing underwear, he realized that their skin was bright red with a hint of black. There were also pink and white streaks that turned white when he pressed them. The color of the skin must have been caused by frequent exposure to the sun and wind. As for the pink color and the white color of the Daozi, those were traces left behind by injuries. You guys, Qin Shi Huang looked at the scars on their bodies and said, you guys have worked hard. It doesn't matter. It's a result of training. Nowadays, there are fewer and fewer injuries. It's a result of practice. Don't worry about catching your fish. We have the ability and confidence to ensure that you won't be hurt, but don't go too far on your own ship. You won't be able to spare the time to follow the ship, and it's not worth it. Wu Qi Lu comforted Qin Shi Huang. Qin Shi Huang laughed and said, I believe you. We all believe you. Before the new year, we occasionally encountered Japanese ships that were bigger than our small fishing boat. They went to various islands to rob things and fought with the local tribes. They all looked very powerful. When they encountered our small boat, we didn't let them pass, so they had to go around. Otherwise, unless they could kill all of our ships, our Tang Empire's gunboats would blow them up. We were not afraid of them at all. Sometimes we even deliberately blocked their way. Hearing that, Wu Qi Lu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He advised, don't always take the initiative to bully others. In fact, killing them won't work. We will investigate. Of course, we have to ask them. As long as someone says that he saw their ship, we will chase them to Japan and torture all the crew members who went out to sea within a few months. We will ask them to prove that they are not the murderer. If they can't prove it, we will count them as the murderer. Is that so? Qin Shi Huang really didn't know that his great Tang Empire would be so unreasonable. After thinking for a while, he said, no wonder they are afraid of us. I guess when our ship was close to them, we overturned our ship. They are more afraid than us, right? Yes, because we don't believe in this kind of coincidence. It looks like bullying, but we can guarantee that you won't be bullied. Young master and young lady only care about your own people. Wu Qi Lu smiled. Qin Shi Huang straightened his chest and felt very proud. It was not like when he went out to sea with his father when he was a child. He was always afraid of encountering Japanese or Xinhua ships. He was worried that he would be at a disadvantage in a fight. After being happy for a while, Qin Shi Huang suddenly reacted. He looked at Wu Qi Lu and asked uncertainly, you are from the Zhang family and Wang family? Young master and young lady, we are Xiaobao and Cuckoo. Wu Qi Lu patted his forehead. It was a tacit admission. He accidentally said something wrong. Qin Shi Huang immediately became more affectionate. He looked at the hot air balloon floating on the sea and said, do you need us to help you drag the balloon back? No, you see if there is anything that can be used. Cut off yourself. Turn all the weapons and equipment into the sea. We will go back and change for new ones. You must not go down a fish. It is not worth it to sacrifice human lives. Wu Qi Lu was worried that they would dive to help fish, so he reminded them. It was dozens of meters deep. It was already difficult for people to dive down, not to mention carrying heavy weapons to float up. If one of them really died, not to mention that he would be punished when he returned, even his conscience would not be able to live with it. Qin Shi Huang really did have this plan before. If the National Army's things fell, he should help to fish them up. After hearing what Wu Qi Lu said, he gave up. However, he was still very interested in the hot air balloon that did not sink. He rowed the boat over there and said, okay, we will divide it. You should change for a new balloon. It will be dangerous to use the old one. If you fall to your death today, I don't want to fish here in the future. I advise you to go to the island and discuss with the local tribes. Tell them that there are many cannibals here. Don't collude with them. Wu Qi Lu nodded first and then explained to Qin Shi Huang. We have already negotiated with the people of Luqiao Island. If many cannibals really come to the island and they catch one of them, we are willing to exchange a set of glassware with them. Glass plates, glass bowls, and glass plates, a set of 16 pieces. Chun Shihong opened his mouth and tried to hold back his laughter. He swallowed 2 mouthfuls of saliva and sighed. Many cannibals should pray to their lord. Don't let them come to the island, and don't let them meet the people of Luqiao Island. Even I am tempted by the things you want to exchange. Chun Shihong was no longer worried this time. The native tribes of Luqiao Island were indeed much weaker than the Tang Empire in terms of military force. So after the Tang Empire showed the power of the gunboats, the chiefs of the tribes put away all kinds of thoughts of taking advantage of the Tang Empire. But the weapons of the cannibals seemed to be the same as the weapons of the tribes. If they really encountered the cannibals, they would be besieged and beaten to death. A human life was worth a set of glassware. After thinking for a while, Chun Shihong laughed and said to Wu Chi Lu, who was looking at him blankly, "Do the cannibals know how to use the Tang Empire's language to communicate with the chiefs of the tribes? Then they would say that they are willing to exchange things and cooperate with both sides." In the end, the locals, who they thought were very stupid, first agreed and then tricked them back to the village. They captured all of them and said to them, "You are so stupid to come here personally to give us benefits." Haha, I'm dying of laughter. The people on the 2 boats also laughed. Maybe if the cannibals really came to the island, such a situation would happen. Most people would think that the people of Luqiao Island were stupid. In the past, they were indeed stupid and always suffered losses when exchanging goods. Especially in the previous dynasty, when they wanted to take advantage of others, they would turn around and capture them and bring many of them back. But now it was not like that. Now, the natives of Luqiao Island had been taught to be smart. Yes, taught. The merchants of the Tang Empire and the people sent by the imperial court patiently taught them. I couldn't figure it out in the past. Chun Shihong pointed in the direction of Luqiao Island and said, "Why didn't we seize the opportunity when we were strong?" Later, I found out that the terrain was complicated and the water was not suitable. Besides, the natives did not come to kill us. It was not worth it to spend too many resources to seize the island, right? Yes, and there's also the problem of who will occupy the island, even if we seize it. Our Tang Empire's population is not enough. Otherwise, the young master would not encourage people to have children. Wu Chi Lu agreed. I don't understand why we need to teach them more knowledge. Chun Shihong asked. Because if we bully the other party when they are not knowledgeable and take advantage of the trade, when they know about it in the future, they will resent us. Since we don't want to destroy them, then we should integrate with them. This island is not bad. We are also planning to build a new port. In the past, people said to befriend those who are far away and attack those who are near. The young master and the young lady have divided the area around the Tang Empire. One part will be integrated and the other part will be attacked economically. Only those who are far away will be invaded by military force. Oh, I mean support. Wu Chi Lu told Chun Shihong in detail about Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's plan. Chun Shihong laughed again. Haha, so be it if they want to invade. We are not against it. Even if we quarrel with our own family, we can just attack other countries. The people who are bullied will hate Xiaobao and Cuckoo, but I have been setting up long life tablets for them. Sometimes when I go to the tombs, I will tell my ancestors that if someone who was killed by Xiaobao and Cuckoo turns into a ghost and comes back, I will ask the ancestors to help me get rid of them. Our Tang Empire has many people and even more ghosts. We are not afraid of foreign ghosts. The other people on the fishing boat nodded vigorously. One of them echoed, "The lives of other countries have nothing to do with me. I know that Xiaobao and Cuckoo want me to live more comfortably. Whoever dares to make things difficult for them, I will make them suffer." Okay, now they're fighting duo sure. I don't see you going over to help. You make it sound nice. Chun Shihong looked at the person who spoke with disdain. How can I help? Even if I go over to fight, they won't let me. Don't scold me. How can you help? This person's face, which was already red from the sea breeze, became even redder. You're just a helper. How dare you shout at me? Who said I didn't help? I donated half of the fish that you and caught last time. What did you do? Chen Shihong asked righteously. This person was speechless. Number 576 asked, Who did you donate to? Young master and young lady did not ask for donations. We have enough money. Moreover, the two of them said that if it is not a battle of life and death, they do not need the people to contribute money. If there is a day when everyone in the Tang Empire is asked to contribute money and effort, then it will be a battle of national fate. If we lose, the country will be destroyed. If you want to donate, you can donate to other areas. It is not mandatory. You should consider your own life first. When the time comes, you will be given a certain amount of tax. No need. I donated to the government in Fuzhou. I sent the fish directly. Chen Shihong began to worry about his own things. Number 576 looked at the people on the guard ship. Immediately, someone began to send a report, asking where Chen Shihong's donated fish went. The people on the two ships fell silent. Chen Shihong approached the hot air balloon and began to cut the oilcloth on it with a knife. He also lifted the basket and placed it on the ship. As expected, it was empty. The things inside were turned over into the sea. After waiting for almost an hour, there was a reply. Number 576 took over the translated content and said to Chen Shihong, They admitted to receiving your fish. The grandson of Fuzhou's provincial governor, Wang Haoji, Guizhouqing, ate 43 fish, one for each table, braised in soy sauce. The rest were made into dried fish and sent to Darling Candy House. Darling Candy House has confirmed the amount. Now, Wang Haoji has sent a telegram of apology to the capital. What do you have to say? Chen Shihong was stunned. It sounded very complicated. The fish he donated were used for war. He did not expect that some of them were eaten and sent to another place. He felt very uncomfortable. Brother Chun, Darling Candy House belongs to Xiaobei and the others. The ship worker who spoke earlier nudged Chen Shihong and reminded him. Yes, it belongs to Xiaobei and Xiao Yuan. What's there to say? So be it. If the little ancestors can eat the fish I sent, I will be even happier. Chen Shihong just remembered why Darling Candy House sounded so familiar. What about the other 43 fish that were eaten? Number 576 asked. 43 fish that were eaten? So what if they were eaten? What else can I do? Chen Shihong thought that 43 fish was not a lot, so he did not think much of it. Testify. Tell us who the fish are for, and we will deal with it. Ow! Let someone else take care of Fuzhou first. Wang Haoji will go to the capital for a joint trial by the Ministry of Justice, the Supreme Court, and the Censorate. Joint trial by the 3 courts? 43 fish? Forget it. If this really goes, even if Provincial Governor Wang doesn't die, he will lose a layer of skin. It's very serious, right? Yes, if our Xiaobei and the others follow any of them, Wang Haoji will directly send an edict. Moreover, his crime immediately increased by 5 levels, right? Don't be like this. Provincial Governor Wang Haoji is really not bad. He specially built a large pool behind the yamen where his family lives and filled it with seawater. When the fish that we send back are not dead, he will let people throw them into the pool and sell them for a better price. He will use the money earned from the difference to hire local craftsmen to repair our fishing boats every time we send them back. If there is a surplus, he will contact the local workshop to buy hemp thread to weave a net. Then, he will give us the number of live fish that we provide. If he was taken away, would the next provincial governor copy him and do the same thing? It's just 43 fish. If I knew that his grandson is 1 year old, I would have given him 100 fish. Chen Shihong started to plead for mercy. The other crew members on the boat also became nervous. They did not expect that a donation of fish, where only 43 fish were eaten, would be so easy to deal with a provincial governor. No wonder the officials of Great Tang were so afraid of the Zhang family and the Wang family. They would be injured if they met them, and they would definitely die if they met them. Xiaobei and the others are really too lethal. A crew member sighed. Number 576 did not have much to say about this. Of course, it was very dangerous to be targeted by the little ancestors. They were specially used to deal with those officials who had facts but no evidence. Because the evidence could be destroyed, but the truth was clear in everyone's heart. Judging an official based on evidence was a small crime, and the people would not be convinced. The little ancestors could make up for this. No matter how small the crime was, adding 5 levels was enough. As for privileges, some people would use their privileges for themselves, while others would use them for the sake of the common people. The privilege of benefiting the common people was not a privilege, but a privilege that was above the law. The law that was above the law referred to the truly fair and reasonable law. It referred to the law that the enforcers could not make any mistakes in enforcing the law. It was not the law that those who profited in the name of the law spoke of. Since someone could use the law for personal gain, why couldn't someone use the law for public gain? Number 576 knew that some old scholars were disgusted with the privilege of Xiao Bei and the others, but he felt that it was right. Of course, he did not catch the people who were against it. The small group of people were just privately criticizing in a small circle. If they felt that they were right, they could stand on the street and shout and see what the consequences would be. No. 576 showed a smile and said to the people on the guard boat, "Generator, Wang Haoji's crime is small, but his merit is big. In this year's assessment, his crime will be reduced by 1 level, and his merit will be increased by 2 levels. The most excellent will be the top." The people on the fishing boat were happy, but the people on the guard boat looked at him and did not do anything. Number 576 was stunned for a moment, and then he remembered something. He found a small piece of cloth from the clothes he took off and showed it to the people on the other side. The people on the 2 boats looked at it together. There was only one pattern on the cloth, a very cute cartoon. It was a rice seedling with long legs and a big head. The rice seedling pointed a gun at his head with one hand and held a pigeon with the word secret written on it with the other hand. Chen Shihong's eyes widened instantly. Sanshui County's Zhang Wang and Sanshui County spy? As expected, you are everywhere. Good. With you here, we will be more at ease. Let's see who dares to deceive us. One of Chen Shihong's crew members also said happily, but I heard that in the previous dynasties, this kind of people were bad people. Why didn't I find that the spy of the Tang dynasties, Xiao Bao and Cuckoo family was bad? It's just that this picture makes people sad. Why did he point the gun at himself? For you, there is nothing to keep secret. Let him see what you have, number 576 said to the person next to the telegraph machine. The person took out a gun and a grenade and said, "The gun is for suicide, and the grenade is for blowing up the radio. If I am surrounded by the enemy and can't run away after blowing up the radio, I will kill myself." After that, he followed number 570 SIX's request to generate electricity. The people on the fishing boat listened to the ticking sound, and for a moment, they were excited. It turned out that their stable life was protected by someone in the dark with their life. When the sound of the telegram stopped, Chen Shihong said, "I have an idea that can let the Tang dynasty get more things in the sea and also provide direct help to the guards." Chapter 13:13. Number 576 looked at Chen Shihong and nodded. "Please go ahead." Chen Shihong took a deep breath and said as if he was reporting, "I found that there are many boats that can be used for both sail and oar. They are 6 to 7 times bigger than my fishing boat. They are too small for the ocean, too slow for transporting goods, and even more laborious for catching fish. They're like chicken ribs. Am I right?" "Yes, there are. They have been thrown in remote places at the docks. Some are even used as temporary warehouses. Do you want to buy them to fish?" Number 576 asked. Chen Shihong shook his head hard. "No, if I have the money to buy that boat, I would rather rent a steam engine boat with a trawl behind it. But I can't afford it. I don't have the wood and coal to burn. I have to go far away to catch big fish and fish that can't be found in the coastal waters. I won't let that kind of boat follow our small fishing boat. When we catch fish, we send them to the big boat. Look like the school of fish we encounter now. The small boat will be filled very quickly. For the school of fish, there is no reduction at all. If there is a school of fish that is not fast enough to catch fish, but with the help of a big boat, we can bring back more fish, right? Whether it is rowing or sailing, it requires manpower. A person on the guard boat interrupted. Chen Shihong smiled at the person. Yes, it needs people to do it. But comparing the gains and losses, it is worth it. They only need to row or sail. They don't need to know how to fish. That boat is not suitable for fishing either. It is neither big nor small, and it can't carry a trawl. Even if it is given to me, I will not catch fish, but transport. This brother, you only think of people and not skills. I can row and sail, but my main skill is fishing. There is also the fishing team over there. They also have the ability to catch fish. But generally speaking, we waste time on the way to and back. When the boat is full, even if there is fish, we can only watch. For example, this time, we took a day and a half to come here, and another day and a half to go back. If we were not instructed and found the school of fish immediately, we would need more than half a day to fill the boat. Now that we found the school of fish, we can fill the boat with fish in 2 hours. What a pity. If we have a big boat, we can chase after the school of fish. How many fish can we catch in 10 to 10 hours? When Chen Shihong said this, everyone began to ponder. Just as he mentioned, it would take 3 days to go back and forth, and it would take half a day to fill the boat, which was too inefficient. If it was near the sea, Xiaobao and Cuckoo were not allowed to set up nets. They could only do artificial farming and fishing, or, as a tourist attraction, throw a few spinning nets on the boat to show the tourists. However, it was absolutely impossible for large-scale fishing fleets to sweep the area, or for steam engine ships to traverse the area with trawling nets. Therefore, everyone had to be a long distance away from the coastline before they could enter the fishing area. If it had been someone else who had requested this, no one would have bothered. However, since it was Xiaobao and Cuckoo, they naturally had to obey. There had to be a very important reason. I'm willing to provide you with an interest-free loan so that you could buy a few of those useless boats. Number 57 felt that Chen Shihong's words were very reasonable. He could use some of the resources himself. Although it was not much, it was definitely not a problem to buy a few boats. As an intelligence officer, he understood that the main family's tax income decreased this year. It seemed that the main reason was that the main income had decreased. In fact, the real reason was that a large part of the funds had been used in the spy system, including the resources that each spy could control. There was also a large amount of overseas expenditure, which was directly deducted by the main family. However, the official account that would not be included in the tax collection could not be restricted by the little young master at all. Even if the cost accounting account book was handed over, the little young master could still get the money, and it would not be detected in the account book or theoretical deduction. The little young master would always have a way to deduct this part of the money, and at the same time, make others feel that it was normal. This was because the Ministry of Revenue could not audit all the transactions of the Zhang family and Wang family. Even if a dynamic rolling method was used to calculate, there would still be loopholes. Moreover, the main family's transactions were truly too many, including the direct withdrawal of shares and dividends and reinvestment. In addition, there was also the pricing of special goods, the benefits given to the officials in the capital, the high salary, and the expenses of the plan to raise honest officials in the areas controlled by the Zhang family and Wang family, the regions where the goods were produced during disaster relief, and the cost of transportation. There were also other aspects and so on. Even if the officials of the Ministry of Revenue were exhausted to death, they would not be able to find out. Even if the Great Tang Bank was not under the little young master's control and was directly handed over to the Ministry of Revenue, they would still be confused. The main family had too many subsidiaries, and they were in contact with each other and competed with each other. If the price fluctuated slightly, even if it followed the fluctuation of the price of the same industry at that time to calculate the profit and the stop-loss point, it was still impossible to avoid the existence of artificial factors. This was the asymmetrical factor that the little young master spoke of between the theory of capital operation and the actual control of it, unless one could know the hearts of everyone who actively and passively entered the capital operation link. Number 576 felt that he could not in this lifetime. So he thought that anyone who said that the income of the Zhang family and Wang family had decreased in recent years and was happy about it were all fucking idiots. Playing with the little young master, they were far from being able to do so. While he was thinking, Chen Shihong and the others were also thinking that this spy seemed to have a bit of power. Not only could he influence the annual examination of the officials, he could also provide loans, the kind that had no interest. Chen Shihong could not feel any envy or jealousy towards number 576. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo had always been very strict in the selection of personnel. First of all, they had to have a heart that was loyal to the great Tang in any situation, and loyalty to the Zhang family and Wang family was secondary. But the more this was the case, the more loyal everyone was to Xiao Bao and Cuckoo. They even felt that the great Tang, with Xiao Bao and Cuckoo, was the real great Tang. After that, they had to undergo the screening of intelligence training, physical fitness, and combat awareness. Only then could they enter the next round of examination. After layers of examination, the people who stayed were definitely the elites of the elites. This could be seen from the wounds on his body and the charm of his personality and his speech that he had put in a lot of effort. Chen Shihong did not think that he could go through this process and persist, so he looked at number 576 again and found that he was still as calm as before. "If I were your enemy," Chen Shihong suddenly muttered, and even made an attacking posture to test the waters. "Then you would already be dead." Number 576 put his hand on the spinal cord behind Chen Shihong's neck and said with a smile. Chen Shihong trembled. He felt that there was a sharp object touching his skin. "Is it a needle?" "The kind that is used to insert the spinal cord. I read in the newspaper that it is easy to dislocate the spinal cord if there is always a hand patting the neck of the child. If there is something inserted, the child will lose consciousness in a very short time." After saying this, Chen Shihong stared at him and said, "Take your hand away. I admit that you are strong, but I am not afraid of you. I will tell Xiao Bao and Cuckoo." Number 576 smiled and retracted his hand. "I just want to let you know what is going on. I know. I was wondering why I felt so relieved. It is because we are on the same team. The stronger you are, the more relieved I am. I am serious with you. I don't want to take a loan. I think that the hot air balloon is very useful. Let's cooperate." The cost of the hot air balloon is very high. Number 576 reminded him. "Is it as high as the life of the fishermen of Tang Empire?" Chen Shihong asked. "You are arguing. If there is no young master and young lady, who do you think is higher between the life of the fully equipped hot air balloon and your life?" Number 576 said that others were arguing, so he followed suit. When Chen Shihong thought of this, his face changed. He immediately reacted and said, "Are you trying to scare me? You can't do without them. Without Xiao Bao and Cuckoo, there would be no hot air balloon. Who do you think is higher?" Then he said, "I am not going to buy a boat. It is not good to take a loan. I advise you to form a team. There are hot air balloons flying in the sky. They will not follow us. Will you not train? When we go out to sea, our small boat will follow the big boat. You will help to look for fish in the sky. You can see far. Otherwise, we used to look for seabirds. When you find fish, tell us. We will go and catch them. We will directly load the big boat. When one boat is full, we will go back and so on. We will take a part of the money from selling the fish. The people on the big boat will take a part, and the rest will be given to you to make hot air balloons. Everyone will benefit. The main thing is that with you flying above our heads, we will be relieved. With us below, when you're in danger during training, we can save you." Number 576 listened carefully and considered whether what Chen Shihong said was feasible. In the end, he thought it was a good cooperation project. Anyway, they were going to train, so it was not a big deal to train anyone. "I personally agree with your proposal, but I can't make the decision. I need to ask for instructions. It is a waste to leave the kind of boat outside to be exposed to the wind, rain, and sun. It is hard to find a boatman, and the price of labor is expensive. If it was Xiao Bao and Huan here, they definitely wouldn't be unable to think of a solution like you. It's a pity that they are busy in the West. I will give you some advice." Chen Shihong saw that the other party could not think of a good way at the moment, so he found an opportunity to show off. Number 576 smiled and then pretended to be humble. "Please enlighten me." Chen Shihong smiled and was very happy. He pointed at Liuqiu Island and said, "There are people on the island. They do things on the island, but the efficiency is too low. In other words, the cost of labor is low." You know a lot. Number 576 praised him at the right time. Just so. Listen to me. You can discuss with them and tell them that you will give them benefits. They will row the boats and sail the sails. The remuneration will be paid in two ways. The first way is that we will catch fish and share it with them. The second way is that after they work for a certain amount of time, we will give them the boats. They have their own simple smelting place. They can weave, they can farm, and they can catch fish. But they lack more skills, so they can't make such a big boat. Look at their boats. They're just hollowed out pieces of wood, and they row inside. When I see their boats, I feel sorry for the wood. Those are all good wood, and it is a waste to hollowed out pieces of wood to make boats. They don't dare to send their bamboo and wooden rafts far away from the sea. If you give them boats, they will like it. When Chen Shihong talked about the situation on the island, he showed a sad expression, as if the wood used by the other party was from his family. Number 570SXS eyes lit up. After thinking for a while, he felt that it was feasible. The people on Luqiao Island had their own social survival rules, but they did not cut off contact with the outside world. In the past, the people here always wanted to take advantage of others. Naturally, the chief of the tribe on the island was not willing to let them. So, he was beaten when he objected. Fortunately, the climate on the island was different from here. Otherwise, they would have been wiped out by the people of the previous dynasty. Of course, it had something to do with the rulers of the previous dynasty. The people in Fuzhou were not easy to control. In the end, they could not find people who could adapt to the environment, let alone form Lu Zhou's wolf army. If you went there, the mountain people would not pay attention to you. Now, there was a large amount of goods to exchange. Moreover, the value of the local tribes was not at a disadvantage. However, not all tribes were friendly to Tang. They were beaten by Tang before, and they were still holding a grudge. At the same time, they were also on guard. According to Qin Shihong, it would not only solve the problem of human resources, but it would also further promote the communication with the natives on the island. Some of the tribes who cooperated with Tang dynasty would become rich first, and the other tribes would be tempted. In the end, when all the tribes cooperated, they could also bring the people of the tribes to Tang for a tour, and the Tang people would travel to their island for a tour. They would divide the land for construction and hire the people of the tribes to work. After a series of operations, they would not need to use force to get the island. They would build a port, and the territory would be extended out, making it convenient for more ships to go to the island. The more number 576 thought about it, the more he felt it made sense. He praised, "Good idea. I'll report it. If it's approved, I'll give you a reward. Maybe I'll give you a steam engine ship." Really? Chen Shihong clapped his hands happily. He knew the other party would not be greedy. At the same time, he did not expect number 576 to give such a good evaluation. He did not even dare to dream that an idea could be exchanged for a ship. It's true. Your idea not only solves the problem of manpower, but also puts the idle ships to use. Tools can only show their value when they are used. More importantly, your idea can quickly reduce the gap between us and the tribes on Liuqiu Island. My idea of a steam engine ship is conservative. The people above will review it and give you a reward according to the value of the idea. They will also add a little extra to encourage you to continue to think of ideas. Then they will put it in the newspaper, and you will become famous. While number 576 was talking, he signaled the people on the guard ship to report it. First, he would simply send the idea back so that the other side could be prepared. When he went back, he would repeat it in detail. Chen Shihong was grinning from ear to ear as he listened. He nodded and said, "I know. I am the horsebone of the horsebone in the 1,000 gold market. Even if you don't give me a reward, I am willing to give you ideas. It is a way to show my value. I, a fisherman, can help the Tang Empire. I have not lived in vain. I don't think you are a fisherman. You're more like a researcher in charge of practical plans. You know a lot." Number 576 said sincerely. Chen Shihong continued to laugh. "Ha ha, ha. I know a lot because I read a lot of books. When I am not fishing, I go to the school to listen to the lessons with the children. When I go home, I ask my son to teach me. Now I can read the newspaper by myself, and I can even write more than 100 words. They all say that I have nothing to do. Stupid. This time, I will let them know who is smart and who is stupid. Number 576. Gave him a thumbs up and was about to praise him when Shan Shihong suddenly pointed to the place where the sea met the sky in the distance and exclaimed, "There are boats, 2 of them, much bigger than mine." Number 576. Quickly picked up the binoculars and looked in that direction. Yes, there were 2 triangular sailboats moving forward on the sea. Looking at that direction, they would come into contact with their side. Whose boats? They are not ours. We don't have such boats with triangular sails. They are cannibals. Why are there only 2 boats? Number 576. Made a judgment. Qin Shihong followed and looked. He took the binoculars and looked, and was amused. Are the boats patched? I reckon that there should be quite a number of ships here, but they encountered wind or something. As a result, all the other ships were damaged. The remaining 2 ships were repaired after docking on that small island. How pitiful. What should we do? Ask all the fishing boats to come back. Send a report and ask for reinforcements. Guard the boats and set up the guns. Give me a gun. My weapons are all sunk in the water. It is really not the right time. Number 576. Quickly gave the order. When the fishermen heard that there was danger, they did not care about fishing anymore. They gathered back and then rowed towards the land. The 2 guard boats stayed in place and did not move. They were not in a hurry. They could see the boats, but would take some time for them to come over. Now, the wind was blowing from the land to the sea. Maybe the reinforcements of the hot air balloon team could follow the wind and arrive. Chapter 13-14. The Tang people on the fishing boats first saw the Duo people's boats. The Duo people's boats were large and had sails. After the Tang small fishing boats withdrew, the Duo people on the boats did not know that there were many Tang people in front of them. The advantage of a jib sail was that it could be turned flexibly, whether it was with the wind or against it. It was just that when the wind was against it, it had to take a zigzag route. Now the people on the boats were doing this. Some people were constantly adjusting the angle of the sails so that the boats could continue to move in the direction they had set and reach land. Khaleesi Muhammad sat on the deck of the first boat. His hands were in his sleeves and his face was covered, only revealing a pair of dry eyes and a pair of feet without shoes. His feet were cracked so much that one could even see the bright red flesh inside. A sea breeze blew, causing his veil to move. 2 seagulls landed not far from him. They seemed to be tired from flying and wanted a rest. Khaleesi Muhammad reached for the waterskin, shook it in his hand, and carefully pulled out the stopper. He put his chapped lips on the mouth of the waterskin to moisten it, then stuck out his tongue to lick it. He reluctantly put back the stopper and put it aside again. He now hoped to see land and then fill the waterskin with water from the river. He would drink it all into his stomach, fill it again, and drink again. Only in this way could he keep away from the fear of hunger and thirst. He had been to the Tang Empire twice. The first time was 15 years ago, when he came to Chuanzhou with other believers to preach to the locals. At that time, some people died on the road, but those who survived gave the great gift of Allah to the locals. Then he went back with the local silk and porcelain, which were all contributed by the believers of Chuanzhou to Allah. When he returned, he was given a portion and exchanged it for sheep and camels. This was a gift from Allah for preaching, and he was grateful to Allah. But a drought took away all his wealth. He thought that it was Allah's punishment for not continuing to preach, so he came again. 3 years ago, he successfully survived under the protection of Allah and set foot on the land of Chuanzhou, waiting for the local believers to welcome him. However, he found that he was wrong. There were no believers. The temples that were originally built by believers were demolished, and the land was taken back. In the past, very few people came to preach. They were all helping the locals in exchange for food. The light of Allah could no longer illuminate the earth beneath his feet. Khaleesi Muhammad creelly inquired with a person who came from the same place and found out that the locals no longer believed in Allah, and the name of Allah was gradually forgotten. They now believed in two people named Xiao Bao and Cuckoo, as well as their emperor. This was because their faith was not firm enough. A group of infidels, they did not know that when they gave up on Allah, Allah also gave up on them. Whether dead or alive, they would all be punished by Allah. Khalisi Muhammad had always felt that he was the messenger of Allah, and that he would turn everyone he met into a follower of Allah. But before he could continue preaching, his fellow believers began to evacuate, and he was taken away from the great Tang by someone else. Half a year after he returned, he received the news that the followers of Allah were planning to shine the light of Allah on every inch of land. But it was likely to be seen through by the infidels. The followers of Allah were not afraid of death, but they had to survive to continue to let others know of the greatness of Allah. Another 2 months passed, and he learned from his well-informed friends that the great Tang had launched a war against Allah's believers. They were using evil weapons to force believers back into Allah's embrace, and they might even launch an even larger war. So he was sent out to lead a ship to the prosperous Hangzhou of the great Tang to capture people who did not believe in Allah and launch a holy war against the infidels. When he came out, there were 40 ships, 60 people on each ship. They came from the sea, but they could not be discovered by the infidels' ships. Otherwise, the infidels would use evil weapons again to sink their ships. Khalisi Muhammad creatively wondered why he did not have such weapons. The Almighty Allah could not be worse than the infidels. It must be Allah's test. People who believed in Allah were not afraid of evil weapons. There are really many infidel ships. Khalisi murmured a hoarse voice in his throat and reached out to touch the water bag, and finally resisted the desire to take another sip. He remembered the ship he saw not long after he went out to sea. The ship was fast, big, and had sails but no oars. Not only did it have the same jib sail as a ship, but it also had a horizontal sail. When the wind was favorable, they hung full sails, and when the wind was against, they lowered the sails, but their speed was faster than when they hung the sails. He heard that this was a thing called a steam engine, which was also made by the infidels and full of evil. The infidels' ships followed the outline of the land. Then his side could not continue to move forward according to the previous plan, otherwise they would be sunk by their gunships. The only way he could take was to go around. After going around and around, he encountered a strong wind, and the sea fell from the sky. One ship after another sank, and he did not know which wave knocked him unconscious. When he woke up, he was already on a small island, and there were other people adding up to exactly 81, and the rest returned to the embrace of Allah. The wreckage of ships floated on the sea around the island, and only 2 ships were still intact. Everyone began to repair the ships and continue to move forward with the test of Allah. Even if there were only 81 people, even if there were only 2 ships left, the fire of the holy war would not be extinguished. Let the infidels know that Allah cannot be used to blaspheme, and dirty souls must be purified. But what about the land? What about the civilians of the infidels? Do you want to let the 81 people and 2 ships on your side fight against the enemy's fleet? In fact, Allah should send a more powerful fleet to the believers, and at the same time, there were sea supply rescue ships that patrolled every half a day. When he came back, he saw that the fishermen were not worried about encountering big storms. They did not go far, only around the range of the lighthouse. They had so many lighthouses, and he did not understand why they were built so close to each other. When the lights were on at night, the light of another lighthouse could be seen from one lighthouse. Even so, they still had supply rescue ships patrolling back and forth along their route. Their ships were loaded with medicine and their doctors. There were small boats on the big ships with their canned food, fruits, and vegetables, as well as changing clothes and countless fresh water. They accompanied their other ships, and the farthest one even followed the merchant fleet. When he went back, he specifically asked someone. The fresh water on the supply rescue ship was free of charge for the merchant fleet, and other things were not expensive. For their fishing boats, everything was free. He heard that he saw a pagan fishing boat was damaged by a whale. At that time, a supply ship passed by, rescued the people in the water, and then gave the fishermen a boat so that they could continue to fish. How could the sinful infidels be like this? That was what the believers of Allah should enjoy. There are boats, I see boats. The shouts of others interrupted Khalasai's thoughts. He stood up and followed the eyes of others. Sure enough, there were boats, 2 small boats, undulating with the sea. If you did not look carefully, you would not find them at all. It's a fishing boat. Someone shouted happily. Khalasai was also happy. They met a fishing boat not far from the shore. First, they would catch the fishermen, then secretly go to their land and catch more people. In this way, the infidels would not dare to do anything to them. They believed in Xiao Bao and Cuckoo, and they cared about their lives very much. The people on the 2 boats began to drink water. They did not need to save anymore. There would be enough water for them to use soon. The people who drank water had strength in their bodies. They tried to adjust the sail, wanting to quickly contact the other fishing boat, catch their people, and complete their mission. Allah, when the many cannibals' boats were trying to get close to the escort ship, in order not to cause trouble to the escort ship, the fishermen who quickly returned to the land saw 4 boats in front of them. They were about the same size as their fishing boat, but their speed, were they flying on the water? Come on, the many cannibals are going to meet them. Chen Shihong only had time to shout, and the 4 boats separated from the left and right sides of their fishing boat, leaving 4 clear traces of waves on the sea. He looked back again, and the 4 boats were 100 steps away. Chen Shihong was stunned. He looked at the others and saw that they were also stunned. He knew that he was not the only one who was dazzled. After a few seconds, Chen Shihong waved his fist. Damn, this is my Tang dynasty's boat? His mother, crazy, this is crazy. Chen Shihong shouted. When the others heard his movement, they came back to their senses and crazily shouted together to vent the shock, excitement, and pride in their hearts. I dare say that I guarantee that this is my Tang dynasty's new technology. It came from a Ministry of Works, which is Xiao Bao's father's place. It's so fast. If I knew that this kind of boat was coming, why would I run? I should have just stayed to the side and watched the show. Chen Shihong said regretfully. Just now, they were worried that they would be a burden to the escort boat, so they tried to leave. Before they set out, they had been told countless times that in the face of danger, if the rescue team did not send a signal to attack together, they should stay away from the danger and not cause trouble to the rescue boat. Especially in a naval battle, they should run as far as possible. They ran, but that was because they did not know that there would be another boat that was so fast. At that time, they were afraid that the many cannibals would not dare to touch the boats with guns, so they specifically looked for fishing boats like theirs. If someone was caught, the people on the escort boat would be afraid of taking action. But if there was a boat that came later, it did not seem to be a problem for them to stay there. The boat that came later would definitely have powerful weapons. I saw it. I saw that the boat that just flew past had small cannons. Why don't? A fisherman said what he saw and suggested at the same time. Everyone knew what he was going to say. Why don't we go back? Everyone looked at each other. They wanted to go back, but they were afraid that it would affect the soldiers on their side. If they went back and the soldiers were injured, not only would they feel uneasy, but they would also be criticized or even beaten up when they return home. Why don't we wait a little longer? Maybe they need our help to capture the captives and those 2 boats. If they haven't sunk, we have to bring them back. Chen Shihong suggested. Chapter 13:15. After listening to Chen Shihong's words, the fishermen chose to agree and wait here for a while. In case they were needed, they could watch over the captives. The captives would be very good labor in the future. If there were dangerous jobs, they could let the captives do it. Fish. A fisherman pointed at the fish on the boat. Still care about the fish? I just want to see what the flying boat is. In the future, if we encounter danger, they will come faster. It's too magical. Another young man said happily. Although the boat was not his, as long as the Tang Empire had it, he would also benefit. The strength of his country made him work harder. When he encountered danger, there would be someone to help him at the fastest speed. When he encountered other countries' boats, they would have to go around him. Was there anything happier than this? His fishing boat was a little small, but his Tang Empire was powerful enough. Especially Xiao Bao and Cuckoo. They would not reason with others. When they took revenge, they would be very ruthless. The others also piled up smiles on their faces. They hoped that they would have a chance to see it with their own eyes. Although they could not own it now, they might be able to buy or rent it in the future. Just like the steam engine boat, when it was first developed, ordinary people were not allowed to come into contact with it. Now, if they had money, they could rent one or even buy one to use for fishing and transportation. Every time my Tang Empire's military technology improves by a level, we will take out the inferior one from before and use it for civilian use. If one day we can use the boat that just passed by, it means that my Tang Empire is more powerful. I look forward to it. After Chun Shihong finished speaking, he drank 2 mouthfuls of water. For a moment, he felt so comfortable from inside out. Everyone waited on the sea here. When they heard the gunshots stop, they would go back. While waiting, something appeared in the sky. The buzzing sound was very loud. The fishermen looked up and were stunned again. They thought that it was a hot air balloon, but it looked different from the hot air balloons they had seen before. The hot air balloons in the past were round, but this one was like a fish with a bulging stomach. Moreover, it was much bigger than the hot air balloons they had seen before. There were fins, and the basket hanging below was also bigger than the hot air balloons. The most important thing was its speed. There were more than 10 hot air balloons following behind this thing, but the distance between them was obviously getting farther and farther. How many bullets can I put in a basket? Chun Shihong looked up, and the first thing that came to his mind was the loading of the bullets. I think so. Today I saw 2 mysterious things. It's so satisfying. Look, there's a smiley face drawn in front of this thing. That mouth and eyes are so cute. If it were a shark, it would be awesome. Another person chimed in and commented, "Cute? What's cute isn't what's in the picture, but how many deaths it can bring." The picture of the Vigorous Protection Team is also cute. The flags of Cuckoo and Xiaobao are also cute. It depends on who's looking at it. It's cute when we look at it, but the enemy will have nightmares when they see it. Someone refuted. I'm just saying, how can it be over so quickly? You can't feel it from the front, but when you get to the top of your head, a shadow will cover you, and you'll be able to run very far away. In the future, they will use this to patrol above our heads. Wishful thinking. It's good enough to have a hot air balloon. If it weren't for the cannibals coming over, there wouldn't be any hot air balloons. There's only a guard ship in charge of that sea area. We're just a bunch of fishermen. Do you expect the Imperial Court to send a gunship to follow you around? Don't be greedy. With a guard ship wandering around there, we could be at ease fishing. It's a waste to have too many things for us to use. Unless we're attacked, the Imperial Court will send troops over. But who dares? I'll lend them some courage. If I die, Cuckoo will make all of them die with me. Chun Shihong thought clearly. Can I just say a few words? Stop. 2 hot air balloons have stopped. They're above our heads. Someone's coming down. The person who spoke just now was about to say a few words when he realized that the hot air balloons had stopped above his head. He changed the topic. 2 people came down from each hot air balloon. There were a total of 4 people with guns on their backs. One landed on Chun Shihong's ship, and another landed on each of the 3 ships beside it. Why did you come down? Chun Shihong was puzzled. To protect you. The person who came down said with a cold face. Welcome, welcome. Oh, thank you. We're the ships and the big hot air balloons that passed by. Chun Shihong pointed to the sky and asked, Military secrets. No comment. The person who came continued to answer with a cold face. Chun Shihong didn't care when he saw that the other party didn't give him face. Anyway, no matter how cold and indifferent you are, you still have to rush to the front when there's danger. How dare you let me take the front? But if only you could be more cheerful. Soldiers and civilians are one family. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo said so. Can I ask around? What secrets can this thing have to reveal? Chun Shihong cursed in his heart. The 4 people who came down began to check their weapons. The guns on their backs were the kind that had a strong penetrating power. The stopping power was relatively small, and they were mainly used for long-distance shooting. The 4 people were very serious. They first took the guns apart to check, then reassembled them. The bullets were also pressed into the magazine one by one. They even took out a military knife and drew lines on 2 of the bullets. The nearby fishermen were all watching. No one made a sound. They had never touched a gun before. The older ones probably wouldn't have the opportunity in their lifetime. The younger ones were thinking about whether they should participate in the training when they go back and shoot a few guns to satisfy their craving. Will they attack us? A young man looked at the guns in the hands of the other person enviously and asked. I don't know. The person answered. The young man was depressed. He felt that he was far worse than the previous number 576. He was talking and laughing. He didn't know you anything. Do you have to be so cold? Difference. This was the difference. Number 576 was the spy of the Zhang family and the Wang family. In terms of status, how many people could surpass him? He was very easy to talk to. At this time, another person came down from the lower hot air balloon. Everyone was stunned. It was actually a woman. She was very beautiful and carried a medical kit on her back. As soon as she came down, she smiled at everyone. When others saw her smile, some of them smiled back. Some of the young men lowered their heads, looking very embarrassed. Don't blame them. The four of them are new recruits. They have never been on a battlefield. They have only trained for 3 years. Usually, the instructor is strict, so they don't dare to joke around. They will be fine after they get familiar with it. The female medic smiled and explained to the crowd. She had seen the situation below from above, so she came down to explain. Otherwise, it would be wrong to be a soldier if they misunderstood when they were protecting people. The female medic had a good personality. When she said that, the expressions of the fishermen became much better. An old fisherman comforted them. Kids, don't be afraid. If they really fight, you can put the gun on my shoulder. I will block their arrows for you. You can kill them all. Consider it as revenge for me. I have 1 foot in the coffin. I'm not afraid of death. Uncle, it's good to hear you say that. But if there is really danger, you have to retreat. If you block them, they will die when they go back. If you don't die, they will lose a layer of skin when they go back. Why don't you thank Uncle? You're all like wood. The female medic smiled and said to the old fisherman. Then, she changed her expression and gave orders to the 4 people. Yes, Princess Tang. Uncle, I apologize. The person in front of Qin Shi Hong was still as cold as before. He apologized to the old fisherman who spoke just now. Everyone started not paying attention to his apology. Instead, they looked at the female medic. Princess? Princess Tang. Which prince's daughter? Why did she come here? Princess, why don't you get married and stay at home? Why are you running around? Princess Tang glared at the soldier and explained with a smile, My brother is Li Sun, Prince Tang. Now, he has nothing to do all day, so he runs between Tang and Prefecture and Bohai Prefecture. He said that the ice sculptures there are good in winter. I'm half a year younger than Xiaobao and Cuckoo. I've been studying medicine since I was 6 years old. I just graduated from medical school last year and went to the border between Xinluo and my dynasty for an internship. In fact, I was using the people from Xinluo to practice. I originally planned to stay there when spring was warm, but it was too cold when spring was cold, so I came here. In the end, it was too hot. Today, we are holding a joint exercise. I'm flying with this balloon. I didn't expect that, as I was flying, you guys would encounter many cannibals. Look, it directly changed from an exercise to a real battle. Let me measure your blood pressure. Everyone suddenly understood. No wonder they came so quickly. It was as if a ship flying on the water could travel. The hot air balloon came at the right time. That's not right. Why did you choose this time for the exercise? Qin Shi Hong was not stupid. The timing was too coincidental. To put it bluntly, we were worried that the patrolling people in front would not discover the cannibals and set up another line of defense behind. We couldn't tell the locals, or there would be panic. We were just looking for an excuse. Princess Tang did not hide it at all. After all, the enemy had already been discovered. Moreover, the fisherman in front of her had seen it. It didn't matter if she said it or not. The imperial court really thinks a lot for us. I came at a good time and have to live a few more years. Look, it's not good for a member of the royal family to come out and suffer. The old fisherman who had just said that he had 1 foot in the coffin now said that he wanted to live a few more years and even criticized Princess Tang. Don't always call me princess. My surname is Li, and my name is Qing. Li Qing, you can call me Qing. I came out to learn from others. The current royal family is not sitting still and waiting for death. We have to learn skills. We have refunded the income of our own territories and only rely on our own abilities to earn money to support ourselves. Of course, we can still live, well, even if we can't earn money. His Majesty has specially set up a fund for us to use. However, it's too embarrassing to count on His Majesty's money to support us. Now, it's popular for the royal family to come out and do things. Uncle, look, I'm out. When I go back to attend the party with them, I'll have something to say. How the fish are caught, and why the seagulls are parked on the boat. If I don't come, I won't be able to get a word in when they say something. Princess Tang spoke to the old fisherman. Her amiable temperament immediately won the favor of everyone. Hearing the simple words coming out of her mouth, the fisherman's displeasure towards the cold soldiers immediately disappeared. One by one, they began to worry about Princess Li Qing. Chun Shihong frowned and asked with concern, Princess, when you practice medicine, does the medical center give you more money than your original territory? Of course. Not only do I practice medicine, but I also research medicine and sell it to Xinluo, Japan, and so on. How should I put it? In fact, those medicines still lack clinical experience, so it's not useful for you. However, Xinluo and Japan are not a problem. It's my ability to eat well, but it's their fate if they die. In fact, it's the same in Tang. The doctors have tried their best, but there will always be people who die. We are very sad, but there's nothing we can do. The technology is there, and not all diseases can be successfully treated. We'll be very happy if we cure a Tang person, but we'll be very regretful if one dies. If we want to be happy, we have to work hard. My income is not small, and it's all invested in medical research. My food and clothes are settled by Xiao Bao and Cuckoo's family business. The main reason is that it's convenient. Their family business is everywhere in Tang. In our circle, whoever earns less will be too ashamed to meet others. During the gathering, find a corner to sit and don't make a sound. Even the Crown Prince brother is the same. It has nothing to do with status. Whoever wants to use their status to pressure others will lose face when they say something to pressure others. And the most terrifying thing is that after you use your status to pressure others, if His Majesty finds out, you may lose your status. Occasionally, His Majesty will attend the gathering and talk about the battle between him and Xiao Bao and what victory he has achieved. In fact, we know that His Majesty always loses. He can't outsmart Xiao Bao. Li Qing covered her mouth and giggled. The fishermen laughed along. Their impression of the characters was revived by Li Qing's words. The gap in status still existed, but they seemed to be much closer to those people. While they were talking, the sound of cannons firing came from afar. They're fighting. It's definitely the sound of cannons. Guns don't make that sound, someone shouted. The four soldiers immediately raised their guns and looked in the direction of the sound without any expression on their faces. Li Qing quickly comforted them. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. They won't be able to hit us. The new diesel boat and airship are enough to deal with the enemies on two boats. The airship is very loaded. There are a few bombs in it. One is enough to destroy the wooden boat. When the telegram arrives, we'll go and help. I hope they don't blow up the boat. No one is afraid. We have a lot of people, but we don't have good weapons. If we really fight, we can still fight with the cannibals. A young man puffed out his chest and said. After a while, the sound of cannons disappeared. Someone in the hot air balloon shouted, Princess, it's done. It's done. Let's go and take a look. Princess Li Qing didn't climb up. She stayed on the fishing boat and asked the people to go back. The fishermen quickly turned the boat around and paddled the oars, heading back to where they came from. Half an hour later, they met up with the escort boat. Both boats were there, but there was smoke coming out of them. The mast and sail of one boat were burning. Many cannibals were swimming in the water, and some were fading in and out of sight with the waves. This part was obviously dead. 6 escort boats set up machine guns and pointed at the people on the boats. They were jumping into the water along the ropes. Those who jumped down used their hands to hold the boat. In the sky, there were airships and hot air balloons with gun barrels sticking out of them. Some people had already landed on the deck of the boats and were using ropes to put out the fire. Why bother? You came all the way here to be beaten. You can't even collect your dead body. If you die in the sea, Just bury it in the sea. Qin Shi Hong said, with a compassionate look. Khaleesi Muhammad Krieli was lucky not to be killed. Chapter 13:16. The duo eaters were captured one by one. 27 of them were killed, and the remaining 54 were taken captive. In fact, 19 of them were killed, and 8 of them were seriously injured. The medical team looked at the injuries and concluded that there was a chance to heal 5 of them, but they couldn't do anything about the remaining 3. However, although there was a chance to heal these 5 people, it didn't mean that they had to heal them. The reason was that it wasn't worth it. Only Tang Empire would go all out. The heavily injured ones who were not dead were shot and thrown into the sea. Among the remaining 54 people, there were some who were slightly injured. At first, they were still shouting, saying that it was painful and that they could not make it. When they found that the 8 heavily injured people had directly turned into corpses, they stopped shouting. They were afraid that they would be dealt with as well. The battle ended very quickly. It was a one-sided battle. 2 people were injured on Tang Empire's side. One of them was nervous when he fired the gun, and the butt of the gun lost its position during the vibration. His chin was bruised, and one could see that it was swollen. The other one was climbing on a surrendered enemy ship. He accidentally put his hand between the rope and the ship's railing, and 3 of his fingers were swollen. These 2 injured people would be punished when they returned. Although they felt uncomfortable when they were injured, they would still be punished. Their injuries showed that their combat skills were not solid enough. If they were sent out to rescue, a small mistake would put the hostages in danger. The 2 injured people indeed had worried expressions. They sat next to each other and looked at each other. They were in the same boat and didn't say a word. No one came to comfort them. It was just a punishment, and it wasn't a big deal. The fishermen who rushed over were very satisfied with the battle, but they weren't satisfied with the number of duo eaters. There were only 50 of them, and it was too little. If only there were 5,000 of them. The Fuzhou shipyard was expanding, and there were still some small hills and potholes behind it. Where are they? Only so few? Qin Shi Hong pulled one of the duo eaters who was tied up and asked. Fortunately, this person could understand Tang Empire's language and replied, "They died on the road." Storm. What a wastrel. Qin Shi Hong scolded and began to look at the 2 captive boats. He looked left and right and shook his head. There's no need. Go back and change it. Put it on the water beside the dock and use it as a restaurant on the water. The 2 boats will be next to each other. Put a plank on the top and use it as a catamaran. Qin Shi Hong's mind worked quickly, and he immediately found a good place for the other party's ship. The more he thought about it, the better he felt his idea was. After discussing with the other fishermen, everyone agreed to get the fish and let their families help cook on the boat, which could also increase their income. They could also provide a part of the fish they caught to the restaurant. Not only would they have more sales, but they could also save the cost of buying other people's fish from the restaurant. To the current group of fishermen, Qin Shi Hong was the most knowledgeable among them, and they were willing to listen to him. Qin Shi Hong then went to negotiate with number 576. He wanted to buy a ship, but he didn't want to take advantage of the guards. Number 576 originally planned to give the boat to them directly. The wood on the boat was not bad. It would be easy for them to dismantle and use it to build their own small fishing boat. Now that she heard that Qin Shi Hong wanted to buy it, and that he even had the intention to negotiate, her attitude changed. Are you sure you want to buy it and not ask for it? No. 576 asked for the last time. Qin Shi Hong nodded. He suddenly felt that he had heard number 570's words today, but he couldn't remember it at the moment. 500 strings of coins. Give me the money, and the boat is yours. Number 576 gave a price. Rob, 200 strings of coins is enough to build a new one, including the mast and the sail. Look at that one, the mast is gone. If we didn't deal with it in time, the boat would be gone too. The sail on the other boat is also broken. Later on, we still have to cut the mast. The wood is good, and it's more than enough to make the beam of 2 rooms. Now it's a second-hand boat, so we have to buy it back. At most, 120 strings of coins. 100 strings of coins, yes, more than that. You have to take it back to play with yourself. Chen Shihong almost offered 120 strings of coins, but fortunately, he reacted quickly enough. 100 strings of coins for you, but in the future when we eat at your restaurant on the water, you have to give us a 20% discount, and it will always be like that. Number 576 bargained with additional conditions. No, it's expensive. You have been eating here, and you're taking advantage of me. 50 strings of coins, I will give you a 5% discount in the future, but you can't order expensive dishes. Chen Shihong was thinking about the price. Number 576 shook her head and said with a smile, "When it comes to doing business, you are too far behind. Don't mention young Master Xiao Bao. Even Xiao Bei and the rest are better than you." If it were Xiao Bei and the rest, they would immediately agree. Why? Chen Shihong couldn't figure it out. Because you will also profit from the 20% discount. When we eat at your restaurant, we have more people, so you will naturally earn more. At the same time, it will also give publicity. When others see the soldiers stationed in Fuzhou eating at your restaurant, they will think that the food in your restaurant is good. If you continue to bargain, I will sell the boat to others for 150 strings of coins, and we will have a 20% discount when eating there. I believe many people will rush to buy it. Number 576 was a little disappointed. Although the fisherman opposite her was smarter than other fishermen, there was a limit to his intelligence. He didn't consider the problem comprehensively enough. Chen Shihong slapped his thigh hard. Oh, I remember. No wonder we are so familiar. The newspaper reported that between adults and children, if the child asks for something, you will give it if you can. If you can't, you will explain clearly. If you negotiate with the child, you have to accompany the child to negotiate even if it's just a copper coin. Let the child understand that family is family, and an agreement is an agreement. Just like when Xiao Bei and the rest negotiated with Xiao Bao and Cuckoo, I have learned another skill. When I go back, I will do the same for my children and nurture them. But there is a problem. Number 576 looked at Chen Shihong and motioned for him to continue. The problem is that we can't take out 100 strings of coins in cash. We are building a new house, and life is better now. It's not like before, where we can only take out the money saved by several generations to build a house for the children who are about to get married. It's easy for us to make money. We can tear down all the small houses in the past and build a 2-story building. We could add a big yard, grow vegetables in the front yard, and rear pigs in the backyard. The seaweed washed up by the sea can be used to feed the pigs. The money can be used to hire people and buy materials. If it's not enough to buy a boat, there's still the cost of opening a restaurant. Chen Shihong showed an awkward expression. However, there was a hint of happiness between his eyebrows. It seemed that he was looking forward to the new house. Congratulations, congratulations. Number 576 cupped his hands and was happy. Chen Shihong smiled shyly. Thank you. I want to say thank you. The longevity tablets of Xiao Bao and Cuckoo will never be removed. Who is good and who is bad, we know in our hearts. If other officials have money, we will be suspicious. If Xiao Bao and Cuckoo have money, we think it's normal. We don't care about the rule that officials can't do business. Thank you. Number 576 also thanked him. He was praising his master's family. Then he gave an idea. You can tow the 2 boats back and then use the 2 boats to get a loan from the bank. The people in your family who run the restaurant are women and older, right? In their name, the bank will give a very low loan interest. If you have people in your family who are not very healthy, the loan interest given by the bank will even be lower than the interest of your savings. There is also the government's tax reduction policy. 2 boats can get a loan of 100 strings of coins from a bank. Chen Shihong didn't believe it. The bank usually estimated the price of things very low. No. Number 576 shook his head. But you could give a loan of 100 strings of coins to the restaurant of 2 boats. If you use the restaurant to get a loan, it's a project. If you use the boat to get a loan, it's a physical mortgage. According to the risk ratio of investment return, the risk of the former is less than the latter. The bank will evaluate it. I've learned something new. People often say that any one of the people from the Zhang family and Wang family is very powerful. Today, I agree with this saying. If you use this idea to deceive people, your 2 families will definitely be invincible. Qin Shihong said gratefully. Number 576 was still smiling and said, "The highest level of deceit is not how to deceive, nor who to deceive, but to not deceive anywhere. My wife said since she was very young that there are no deceivers in this world. Everyone is good. He. Ha ha, I've heard. It is said that Cuckoo was laughing at that time. A maid said that there was a deceiver on the other side of the bridge. In the end, Cuckoo said, how could it be possible? Good people, they're all good people. Go bring Xiaobao here. Ha ha ha. I can't help but laugh when I think of it. I did as you said. Will the bank think that we are not honest? Qin Shihong laughed happily for a while, then turned back to the topic and became serious. Number 576 said with certainty, Go. This is not deceit, because deceit does not make one invincible. The real invincible is benevolence. The imperial court has a policy of supporting people. Benevolence leads to people's hearts. Qin Shihong happily continued to discuss with the others. After that, they decided to send people to watch over the area while the other fishing boats brought the captives back. When they arrived at the seaside, they would hire a big boat to help pull the two boats back. It would be too slow if they dragged the boats themselves, so everyone agreed. Qin Shihong told number 576 what they had discussed. Number 576 proposed to use 4 new boats to help pull the 2 boats back directly. There was no charge, and they could see how the new boat's power system was. When the fishermen heard this, they were happy. They were happy not because they could save money, but because they could see the boats that flew on the water before. Li Qing, the princess of Tang Bay, introduced the boats to the fishermen like a tour guide. I don't know how many new boats the Ministry of Works has built in total. I only know that they sent 4 to Fuzhou and 4 to Quanzhou. Luzhou might have more, but they didn't tell me. As a princess, I don't have the power to ask. The information I can get is that there are small diesel engines behind the 4 boats. The workmanship is more delicate, and the failure rate is higher. Especially the propeller at the bottom. It was calculated by Xiaobao and Cuckoo. Yes, it was calculated. This is the importance of knowledge. After that, the Ministry of Works sent skilled craftsmen to grind it little by little on the lathe, and it almost had to be remade. It's not that it's impossible, but it's Xiaobao and Cuckoo's request. When it comes to noise, thrust, and so on, the unqualified products are quite good when used on other boats. It's just that they don't meet their requirements. Princess Qing, we know. It said that Xiaobao and Cuckoo want to build our own Tang heavy industry. The requirements for craftsmen are very high. With a casual look and touch, they can find the difference of 0.2 millimeters. The most simple training class is to graduate. It requires a small hand file and an iron rod to make a beautiful multifunctional hammer. With this hammer, you can make better things with the hand file and then continue to work with it. What we want to know now is when we can use this boat. Hurry up. Once this boat is out, the other boats will be like crawling. Can we use the same thing on the bigger boats? A fisherman mustered up the courage to speak to Princess Li Qing. His hand was pinching his leg hard, and he was nervous. It was the first time in his life that he talked to a beautiful princess. In the past, he would not even dare to think about it. He thought that he was a good-for-nothing. Princess Li Qing sensed the other party's nervousness and felt a little disappointed. She felt that she had not done a good enough job. If Xiaobao and Cuckoo were here, she believed that the fishermen would not be so nervous. However, in reality, their status was much higher than hers. After considering the question, Princess Li Qing felt that it was not a big deal to reveal the secret. So, she answered, Luzhou already has a boat in use, and it needs something called diesel. It has been used in the military. If you want to use it, I guess it will take 5 years. 5 years later, more advanced technology will be developed and used in the military. The blockade will be lifted for civilian use. Are you afraid that we will buy it and leak the technology? The fisherman asked again. No, you can't copy it at all. You can use it or take it apart. If you can't put it back, you'll have to spend money. We can't let you use it now because we don't have enough diesel. Are you willing to spend 5,000 strings of coins to drive the same boat back and forth? Unless you're a rich person and use it for fun or fishing, You'll have to catch some fish to earn back the cost. Su Qing said. In fact, she did not know the price of diesel. She only knew that the production was not high, and it was mostly used for military research. When the fishermen heard this, they were discouraged. They would rather buy a big boat with a steam engine in the future. The news that the duo cannibals who came from afar was soon reported in the newspapers. Many people complained that a large number of duo cannibals were drowned in the storm. Otherwise, there would be more slaves to do the work. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan knew the news earlier. When the fishermen just found out about the duo cannibals, the telegram was sent back, and other telegraph offices received the signal and sent it to the west at the same time. Everything is stable. Now we just need to enter India from here, and then quickly pass through and attack the duo cannibals. Zhang Xiaobao put down the information and said to Wang Wan, who was walking next to him. Wang Wan also had a copy of the content in her hand. When she knew that the last thing she needed to worry about was solved, she was also very happy. As for the duo cannibals who encountered the storm, she did not care at all. She was glad that the duo cannibals survived and reached the coastal area. Otherwise, if they all died, her side would always be on tenterhooks and waste a lot of manpower and resources to patrol. At this time, their team had already passed through the residential area of the Meng tribe. The people of the Meng tribe did not show the slightest hostility. On the contrary, they prepared sheep and placed them on the side of the road. They also had practical leather, some cut into pieces, and some cut into strips to be used as bandages. There was even one person who could speak simple Great Tang language and wanted to trade things with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, especially salt. Zhang Xiaobao thought about it and did not trade for salt with the locals. Instead, he introduced the person surnamed Quan, who was going to be the interpreter to them so that they could trade among themselves. The team only exchanged some silk with the Meng people and some crop seeds. They told them to plant them well and that they would be very valuable in the future. The interpreter surnamed Quan very proudly told the Meng people that they had an inexhaustible supply of salt and that the price was cheap. If they wanted to trade, they could bring something with them. At the same time, he warned the other party not to use force to snatch the salt because there were great Tang soldiers stationed there and their weapons were very powerful. The Meng people did not dare to believe it at first, but when they received confirmation from Zhang Xiaobao, they were very happy. The person who spoke simple Great Tang language had not even seen the real thing and had not even begun the trade, but he could not help but haggle with the Quan people. He pointed at a sheep and said, "1 sheep for 1 leather bag of salt." Zhang Xiaobao looked at the sheep. Its wool weight was around 40 jin, which was not considered small. That leather pouch could probably hold about 10 caddies of water, but the salt pouch was much heavier. It could hold about 20 caddies. The Quan person shook his head with a smile. The Meng person said again, "This." He gestured a half of the bag. The Quan person still smiled and shook his head. The Meng person thought about it, and then lowered his hand to about 1/10 of the water bag. He then looked at the Quan person. This was after considering that the other party had said that there was a lot of salt. Otherwise, he would have been willing to bring another sheep with the same amount of salt. The Quan person picked up half of the sheepskin and said to the Meng person, "This sheepskin could be exchanged for a bit of salt." The Meng person was angry. He thought that the other party was lying to him. How could a bit of sheepskin be exchanged for a full bag of salt? The Quan person quickly said in the other party's language, "It's true. There's a lot of salt. You can dig it up. Some of it can be eaten directly, and some of it needs to be processed. It's not worth much. I also want to sell it to you at a high price, but I'm afraid that Xiao Bao and Cuckoo will be angry. If you don't believe me, you can bring a few people back with me. I'll let you see with your own eyes how much salt there is. No matter how much you eat, you won't be able to finish it. It's just that you'll have to walk back and carry a lot of it. We're not afraid of the weight. We'll call someone to go with you right away." The Meng person was still worried before he was sure, but he chose to go and take a look. The matter was resolved. After that, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan sent a telegram to confirm it through the people who stayed behind. The Meng person was very happy and said that he was willing to consider joining the Tang Empire, provided that he would not be a slave after joining. Now we should speed up and continue to the west through the territory of the 6th Zhao. and then turn northwest. That's the Brahmaputra River, which happens to be our front line. We specialize in attacking the duo people from India. We should cooperate with them. Zhang Xiaobao stopped, opened the map, and said to Wang Wan. Wang Wan looked at the map and nodded. Soon, some areas in India and duo people have started to harvest wheat and other crops in autumn. I hope that the fleet that went to the strait to attack will be in time. We can't let them safely harvest the grain. Let's hurry up and ask the small countries in India why they are helping the duo people. Then we can talk to them about the purchase of grain. If they say they don't want to sell, we can attack them on the grounds that they want to continue to support our enemy countries. Zhang Xiaobao echoed. What if they say they're willing to sell? Wang Wan asked. Impossible. Would you be willing to sell 10 caddies of wheat for 1 copper coin? Zhang Xiaobao meant that he wanted to lower the price. Yes, we can exchange it for foreign exchange. Wang Wan said with a smile. Then 100 caddies. I don't believe it. Zhang Xiaobao said in a huff. Chapter 13:17. Zhang Xiaobao completely agreed with Wang Wan's words. Even if 10 caddies of wheat could be exchanged for 1 copper coin in Great Tang, and this did not include the cost of transportation, 1 copper coin in Great Tang could only buy half a caddy of wheat. So, should he sell it? He had to sell it. However, the money could not be exchanged for wheat in Great Tang. It could be exchanged for salt, other handy tools, or even a biology book for children in school. This was the pressure of technology. Paying so much in exchange for a very basic technology of Great Tang, it was impossible to advance further unless one researched the basics themselves. Then, one had to pay an even higher price. How high was the price? If others spent 100 strings of cash to research a technology, one could forget about obtaining it without at least 1 million strings of cash. This was because there was a connection and continuity between technologies. Spending 100 strings of cash to research a basic technology did not mean that the technology itself was worth 100 strings of cash. If one factored in military and productivity, 1 million strings of cash would be considered cheap. The best method was to pay a large amount of resources to learn all the basic technologies of Great Tang and nurture a group of people. Then, one could continue to buy technology while one researched. If it were a smart country or race, they would need 100 years to catch up, and in this 100 years, they would have to endure the pressure of international trade. In order to establish a world forest, one had to use the strength of one's nation. However, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were not at all afraid of the people from the Anxi region and the little Brahmins in front of them researching technology. They only restricted Japan and would not give them any chance. That nation was also very smart. As for the Anxi region and the Little Brahmin Kingdom, one was Myanmar, the other was India, and the same was true for the Polyphagia region and the Arabian region. It was not that they were looking down on them, but even if you gave them technology, they would have to learn and learn for a very long time until the technology was eliminated. But what if you tried Japan? They would definitely be able to learn and understand the technology in a short time and then derive other technologies from it. Therefore, they had to get rid of them and not give them the slightest chance. Otherwise, they could only exterminate their families. This was not good. It did not match the spirit of Yin Huang and could not show the charm of Huaxia. All areas with Chinese people must have Chinatowns and Chinatowns. We are the only ethnic group in the world with this ability. Even the smart Jews can't do it. This shows that we are the most tenacious, the most adaptable, and the most tolerant. I am willing to tolerate, but I will never allow threats to exist. I agree to include all races in the world into the Chinese nation, but I will not coexist with them as countries. 6 Zhao, your last chance. If you miss it, don't blame me, Zhang Xiaobao, for being ruthless. The universe is too vast, and we are wasting our time trying to influence you bit by bit. Anyone who hinders the integration of the races is a sinner. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's team had already arrived at the territory of the other Zhao. Zhang Xiaobao glanced at the people hiding in the woods and said as if he was talking to himself and making a declaration. Wang Wan ordered not to shoot at the scouts of the other side. The team continued to move forward. She said to Zhang Xiaobao, It's a good place to call the brothers and sisters of the Yunnan region. We have always called ourselves Yimeng. Now that we have two surnames, it's enough. Yimeng is Yimeng with other Zhao, and Yimeng without other Zhao is Yimeng. Myanmar will not exist because of the 6 Zhao. Besides, there will be no Myanmar in the future. Buddhism will flourish because it is close to India. The 6 Zhao will either happily become a part of the Tang Empire or become a part of us passively. I thought you were going to make the people with the surnames Meng and Quan disappear, but in the end, you've become active and passive, Zhang Xiaobao said to Wang Wan as he waved at the locals who poked their heads out of the woods. Wang Wan took half a step back and said, I can't do it. I'm not like you. I only slaughter villages in the process of battle to achieve my goal. You fight to achieve the goal of slaughtering villages. Me killing civilians is a special case. You killing civilians is normal. That's why soldiers are cute and conspirators are shameful. This time, the number of people who die in a war is definitely far less than the number of people who die because of your economic means. No wonder you were captured and didn't die. A person like you is worth an army. I don't dare. I can't compare to Grandpa Chien. That's why I like to sing Swallows Fly Twice. Without him, I don't even know what Swallows Fly Twice is. The Kaimi can't be a politician. A politician can not only ignore the lives of others, but is even willing to use the lives of his own people as a bargaining chip. I'm far from that. My heart is too weak. I've always respected the song of loving my love with no regrets. That's the song in the old TV series. There's another song in this TV series that I like very much. It's written specifically for the female lead. Zhang Xiaobao said and waved to the person hiding behind the tree again. That guy was not brave enough to come out. Wang Wan sighed. From the beginning to the end, you've been spouting nonsense. In the beginning, you said that you were kind, but in the end, you said something about writing a song for the female lead. I'm writing a song for the author, San Mao. Okay? San Mao, from The Vagabond? Are you coming out or not? If you don't come out, I'll shoot. Zhang Xiaobao casually answered Wang Wan and shouted to the person. The person hiding behind the tree came out with a bow. After thinking about it, he put down the bow and quiver. Step by step, he walked towards Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao stared at the person and suddenly said, Throw away the bamboo pipe at your waist. The person took off the bamboo pipe used for blow darts and put on the ground. He walked until he was 15 steps away from Zhang Xiaobao and stopped. Tell me, what are you doing here? Zhang Xiaobao asked. The person's eyes were blank. He began to speak his own language, and his hands were also gesturing. It was obvious that he couldn't understand and couldn't communicate. Zhang Xiaobao was amused. Wang Wan also laughed. Patting his forehead, Zhang Xiaobao said to the person, I'm so worried. Who sent such an interesting thing like you? Could it be the person standing behind you? The person turned around and looked back. There was no one behind him. There's no one, right? I know there's no one, but I also know that you can understand me. Don't make me laugh. Come, it looks like you don't have it easy. Take this salt. I remember there was no embargo on you. Don't you usually eat salt? Your skin is really bad. When Zhang Xiaobao saw through the person still pretended to be ignorant. Zhang Xiaobao had to signal the person next to him to take a bamboo tube of salt and throw it to the person. Then, he commented on the person's skin. The person took the bamboo tube, opened the lid, dipped his hand in the white powder, put it in his mouth, and sucked. His eyes immediately narrowed. He nodded repeatedly and said to Zhang Xiaobao in the Tang language, Delicious, thank you. You're welcome. Zhang Xiaobao humbly replied. The person licked again. It's really delicious. Thank you. Zhang Xiaobao said. You're welcome. The person replied. Wang Wan couldn't help but laugh and said to Zhang Xiaobao, Are you doing crosstalk with him? Crosstalk, you know. Come, little brother. Seeing that you're younger than me, come closer. Don't worry, I won't harm you. There are canned food, one for each of us. We can chat while eating and also drink some wine. Zhang Xiaobao beckoned the person forward. Someone brought over canned pork ribs, not the small kind, but more than 2 caddies. Another person brought over a wine glass that could hold half a caddy and filled it to the brim. There was no need to heat it, as the temperature here would make the wine warm. The person hesitated. Come and eat. If I want your life, I don't need to use poison. I have something to ask you, and I need you to help me pass on a message. Zhang Xiaobao opened the canned food and invited the person again. The person thought for a while and finally came in front of Zhang Xiaobao. The two of them sat on the ground. Zhang Xiaobao passed a small knife to the person and took one for himself. He first put a piece of pork rib into his mouth and ate it. The person took the knife and looked at it first, then looked at Zhang Xiaobao and learned to eat a piece of pork rib. After chewing twice, a satisfied look appeared on his face. Delicious, right? Come, let's drink. It's strong. Slow down. Zhang Xiaobao took a small sip. He couldn't raise his head and drink 60% wine. It wasn't that he couldn't drink half a caddy, but it was a pity. When drinking strong white wine, one had to experience the mouth, esophagus, and stomach first cool down and then suddenly warm up. At the same time, there was also the smell of alcohol and the aftertaste. Good wine had to be spicy when it entered the mouth, and then a line went down the stomach, and then the aftertaste was fragrant. Bad wine was fragrant when it was drunk, but the throat would first hurt, and then the stomach would be cold, and the aftertaste would be bitter. Aged wine belonged to the former, and blended wine belonged to the latter. And any white wine that didn't exceed 50% was not a good white wine. Zhang Xiaobao felt that the wine in his house was not bad, but this person just drank a mouthful and choked. It was as if there was a piece of cotton in his throat. I told you to drink less, but you insisted on drinking a big mouthful. Hold your breath and eat the canned food. Zhang Xiaobao complained. This person was really obedient. He immediately ate a piece of pork rib and swallowed it. He let out a long breath, rolled his eyes, and praised, "Good wine, good meat. The wine is good wine, but the meat is just so. The two of us are eating canned pork ribs. I actually like to eat it, but more people like to eat lamb chops, steak, and deer chops. It's just that ordinary people can't eat the latter too. If you have sheep herders here, we are willing to exchange a can for 20 caddy of lamb chops. You feel that you're making a loss, but in fact, we need to transport the canned food here and add a lot of spices. When the lamb chops are raw, it is 20 caddy, but when it is cooked, it will be reduced by a lot. You eat it every day, so you should know. There's also the leftover tin. In Tang, canned food is divided into glass jars, tin jars, and bamboo jars. Glass jars are usually filled with fruits because fruits have acid and will react with the tin. It's useless to tell you this. Anyway, it's just tin. After eating the food inside, the tin can still be used. You can use the box as a bowl, right? The lid can be used as a knife. It's very sharp. If you don't believe me, you can gently cut it and see if you can cut it. Are you stupid? You're too honest. Who sent you here? You're too honest. Who sent you here? Someone come. Zhang Xiaobao tried his best to explain why the canned food could be exchanged for so much lamb. In the end, the other party used the lid of the can to cut his hand. Sure enough, it was cut, and blood kept flowing out from his index finger. A medic brought gauze and medicine to help bandage it. It was just a small wound, so it was fine. Don't let your cut finger come into contact with water for 2 days. Take off the gauze before you sleep tonight. Luckily, I said cut your hand. If I said cut your neck, you would have committed suicide in front of me. How can I explain to your tribe? It's not that I care about killing one of you. The problem is that I am innocent. If I didn't kill you, then I didn't kill you. Why should I take the blame? This roll of gauze and the rest of the medicine are all yours. Don't laugh as if you were taking advantage of me. I would rather not be injured than to take these things. Zhang Xiaobao was speechless. At the same time, he showed a sad expression. This person tucked the gauze and medicine into the animal skin belt at his waist like he was hiding a treasure. He smiled at Zhang Xiaobao and said, "My name in Tang is Li Yunyan. Your medicine is very valuable. These medicine and gauze can be exchanged for 5 sheep. Li Yunyan is a girl's name. Okay? Fine, you can call me that. In fact, the medicine you have now contains local herbs. It's just that when we use it, it's more effective than the medicine you make yourself. The medicine and gauze are not even worth a caddy of lamb. If you use 5 sheep to exchange for it, how much will you pay? That's why you should go back and tell your king that the current Tang is different from the past Tang. If he wants to destroy you, he could destroy you. If he wants to make your life better, he can make your life better. It's not a complete surrender. In fact, it's just a small portion of you who want to have absolute power over the majority of you. They would rather have a bad life in the tribe than lose their power. It's a very selfish behavior. Zhang Xiaobao continued to say to the man who called himself Li Yunyan. Li Yunyan lowered his head and thought. He ate 2 ribs and even chewed the bones. Then he asked, "Are you willing to give up your power?" You are asking a deep question. Of course I am not willing. But I can make the people who give me power live better lives. I also have the ability to maintain my power. I can also ensure that they are not bullied by others. If they bully others, I will help them bully others. Can your king do that? Zhang Xiaobao frankly admitted that he would not give up his power, but he also pointed out his advantages. Li Yunyan shook his head. No, but we are willing to fight to the end. The sheep you killed may also think the same. Do you care if the sheep resist? In other words, you don't care about us, right? Wrong. We care about you. We don't want to go to that step. We want to continue to expand and fight to the west. I can't sleep well if you are in the middle. What benefits can you give us? Didn't we already give you the technology to build a factory? What factory? Li Yunyan curled his lips. Zhang Xiaobao began to look at him again. After a while, he nodded and said, I can see that you are not a scout. You are the person your tribe sent to contact and negotiate with us, and you are very familiar with many things. If I kill you now, your entire tribe will cry. Not only will they cry, but they will also be very helpless. Li Yunyan smiled and said, You are a man with an Adam's apple. You smile like a woman. Change your name. I understand what you mean. You're the last person to take out. Your tribesmen are all looking at you, looking at us. I really can't kill you. I need someone who is familiar with the Tang Empire. The technology to build the factory was provided because you participated in the Japanese's conspiracy against the Tang Empire. In a few days, there will be a large number of logistics and supply teams passing by your place. There are not many armed guards, and there are things there we can guard, and we can also take out all kinds of food to exchange with the supply team. I know that the supply team must have special goods for exchange. This way, we don't have to carry more food along the way. A cart of goods for exchange can be exchanged with others on the road for hundreds of carts of food supplies. Without waiting for Zhang Xiaobao to finish, Li Yunyan interrupted Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao smiled. Wang Wen also smiled. The two looked at each other and immediately understood each other's thoughts. It seemed that the people here did not only know how to wait for results, but also knew how to take the initiative to attack. Under the pressure of survival, no one was a fool. The two of them thought of those small countries in the past. In order to survive in the international world, they had to curry favor with a large country while also threatening it. They were like fence-sitters, occasionally moving closer and sometimes moving away. They struggled to survive in the cracks, but even so, they were still attacked by other large countries. Moreover, if not for the current Tang Empire, in normal history, the six Zhao, Tubo, and Jinla would indeed rely on the Tang Empire while also using it. In the current situation, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan understood that this time it was not a political and nominal compromise between a weak country and a strong country, but true harmony. It was not that they did not want to, but that they had no choice. When the Tang Empire reached a certain level of strength, any small trick in exchange for absolute destruction. Why did the small countries in the past have such illusions? Because the United States did not have absolute authority, and neither did the Soviet Union. In the end, it was the mutual compromise between the large countries that had tricked them. They wanted to rely on one large country to fight against another. But the other large country was not stupid. So who could fight against the Tang Empire now? Could they still rely on the geographical environment and climate to make the Tang Empire consider whether it was worthwhile to attack? The Tang Empire had trained its soldiers to adapt to the geographical environment over the years. The small skirmishes with Duoshi and the disaster relief missions to Tubo were all for this moment. Have you thought it through? Zhang Xiaobao, who had thought it through, asked Li Yunyan. Every time he thought of the other party's name, he felt very uncomfortable. He was clearly a man, but he had to use a woman's name. The canned food is very delicious. In the future, you can actually build a canning factory here. We are willing to help you build other factories further west. Here, we have beautiful mountains and clear waters. If you don't believe me, look at your guards and servants. None of them are affected by the climate. Li Yunyan did not directly answer Zhang Xiaobao's question. Instead, she talked about the canned food and the factory, but the key was in the last sentence. She said that when Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came here, they did not care about mosquitoes, miasma, or other things. The main defense of the six Zhao was the environment. It was not that the Tang Empire had not come here to attack before, but the losses were great. After conquering, they could not manage, and in the end, they had a hand over power. Now, the other party's large army had come here without any problems. Was there a need to say anything more? The natural defense line had been broken. After the battle with their army, if they could defeat more than 10,000 of them, they could directly declare that they were no longer under the jurisdiction of the Tang Empire. The Tang Empire could not do anything to them, but was that possible? Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also understood the other party's meaning. Zhang Xiaobao said, "The mountains and rivers are indeed good. It will be a tourist attraction. The Tang Empire has other places that are not bad. You can send people to take your family members to see them." Understood. When things are stable, we will move most of our people to see them, Li Yunyan replied. Chapter 13:18. Li Yunyan left. She ate the whole can of food and drank half a caddy of wine. In a daze, she left with a backpack of more than 40 caddies of gifts. Among the gifts, there was a pair of binoculars, a pistol, and 200 bullets. The rest were seeds. As for the canned food, Li Yunyan didn't think it was important. After solving the problem of 1 or 2 tribes, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan continued their journey. They were relieved. Both sides had agreed to build the harmful factories further away and build a canning factory at the same time. When the situation stabilized, a large number of people would migrate to various parts of the Tang Empire for tourism purposes. "Pick up the pace and move forward," Zhang Xiaobao ordered. The team immediately sped up. This made things difficult for Xiao Bei and the others. They couldn't be carried by others all the time. The others were also tired. Usually, they would walk for 2 hours and be carried for an hour before they could catch up with the rest of the group. Although they said they were in a hurry, there was no road at all. They couldn't even see a winding path. There were only mountains and forests around them. Occasionally, they would come across a small valley. They had to take a detour and find a good place to set up camp. The people who walked in the front had the hardest time. Little Bei and the others didn't have to run to the front. When they started walking, there was already a road. All kinds of poisonous insects have been cleaned up. The scenery is beautiful. It's really good, but I still want to stay in a big city. It's wet and humid. It's even worse than when I was in Luzhou. Little Bei wore a pair of thick leather boots. When the team stopped to rest, he walked forward and chose a place where he could see the situation at the foot of the mountain. He complained to the people next to him. Little Yuan and the others found a flat place to lie down. After all, they were still young. It was very tiring to follow the speed of the adults. If it weren't for their good nutrition and exercise, they would have been carried forward. Compared to the 9 of them, Su Yilong, the grandson of Su Jian, who had been following them, was much worse. He was older than Little Bei and the others, and came from a good family. He couldn't be compared to Little Bei and the others. Ever since he met Xiao Bei and the others before coming to Izhou Prefecture, he had never left. Occasionally, Xiao Bei and the others would go out to play children's games while he stayed with the group. Although he was old, his physical strength could not keep up. He was very grateful that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not play this kind of rapid march when they first met him. Instead, they gradually increased their speed and at the same time increased their intensity. This gave him a chance to adapt. Although he was not much different from a dead dog now, he could still breathe. "I can't take it anymore. I feel that I've lost a lot of weight. If I walk for a few more days, I'll definitely die." Su Yilong said to Xiaohai, who was lying beside her. Xiaohai closed her eyes and relaxed her body. Wei Wei opened her mouth and adjusted her breathing. Obviously, she was giving a psychological suggestion to recover her strength quickly. She had no time to pay attention to Su Yilong. Xiaobei looked at the scenery for a while and asked someone to spread a blanket. She directly lay down and stretched out her arms. This way, she would feel comfortable breathing and use her body weight to compress her lungs. Xiao Yuan curled up on his side, like a baby in his mother's belly. The big boys and small boys hugged together. Zhang Gang and Zhang Chang had one leg stretched out horizontally and the other leg stretched out horizontally. Anyway, each had their own most comfortable resting position. The others in the group were also resting. Only the cook was busy. Zhang Xiaobao did not show his cooking skills at the moment. He was waiting for the logistics staff to stew the dishes. The dishes were local wild vegetables, mushrooms, and the meat of the wild animals that were hunted. The staple food was the same, bamboo rice cooked with rice. This could save the time of washing the dishes. It was not that the stew was delicious. If it was in the Northeast, it was okay to eat stew in winter. It was warm and would not get cold easily. In this place, the feeling of eating stew was much worse than cooking, but stew was the most convenient. There were many wild animals on the mountain. The people who opened the path and the people who were in charge of scouting in front killed them. Crossbows were very useful at this time. No one used guns, otherwise they would scare the animals away. After half an hour, the meat was stewed. The cook ate first. When he was half full, he lay down to rest. The others took turns to eat. The meal would probably take another half an hour. Xiao Bei and the others were woken up. They took the split bamboo tube and ate a big mouthful of rice first. Then they scooped out some vegetables from the pot and put them in the empty space where they had just eaten. They stirred the vegetables with the newly made bamboo chopsticks and ate 2 mouthfuls of the vegetables, leaving more space for them to scoop out more vegetables. Why are the mushrooms so smooth? The taste is not good. Su Yilong scooped a piece of meat with 2 small mushrooms. She ate one and muttered. Xiao Bei turned his head to look and said to Su Yilong, "Poor people can't eat good things. This is a very delicious beef liver mushroom. It can be picked and eaten directly. Some mushrooms will be poisoned if eaten directly. It needs to be dried first. You eat the meat and leave the mushrooms to us. The taste is not good, but the taste is good." Su Yilong immediately corrected her mistake. She did not doubt Xiao Bei's words at all. He was an expert in eating. He could eat a lot of rare things since he was young. It would be a lie to say that she was not envious. She ate the other mushroom with the fastest speed and swallowed 2 mouthfuls of rice. Su Yilong scooped some vegetables again and looked at them. She showed a troubled expression. Xiao Yuan looked and handed half of his bamboo tube over. "Give it to me. It's just snake meat. Look at how scared you are. Look carefully when you scoop it later. Don't scoop it up if you don't eat it." Su Yilong happily gave a small piece of snake meat to Xiao Yuan. Xiao Yuan chewed it slowly and nodded repeatedly. She praised, "It's delicious. When it comes to stewing dishes, snake meat is more fragrant. It's much better than rabbit meat. It's very nutritious." When Su Yilong heard that it was very nutritious, she began to regret it. When she was almost done eating, she wondered, "You guys seem to be able to eat anything. Don't you have your own preferences? No matter what, you're raised by a rich family and you have preferences. Look at the situation now. If it weren't for the fact that I could cook it, I would eat it even if it was raw. It's better than starving to death. It's a pity that we can't eat the snake's gall. I'm afraid that there are parasites. Unless it's made into snake gall wine with strong alcohol, I can't drink it." Xiao Yuan despised Su Yilong and lowered her head to eat the last 2 mouthfuls of rice. She then scooped 2 spoonfuls of soup and gulped it down. She touched her stomach. "I'm 60% full. Okay, let's continue the journey later." Su Yilong looked at Xiao Yuan's rice and then looked at his own. He found that the little guy could eat more than him. He was almost full now. After he ate the last mouthful and drank some soup, he estimated that he would be very full. Moreover, he was very envious of the little guys. When they were tired from the journey, they could recover immediately after a little rest. When they were growing, they really could not compare. After the meal, the team continued their journey. No one was injured until they started to set up camp at night. The people who were in charge of protecting the surrounding area cleaned up all the snakes and poisonous insects. As for the legendary terrifying wolf pack, they only saw a shadow and then disappeared from sight. They probably also found out that the crowd was more powerful than them. The meal at night was better than at noon. There were 2 stir-fried dishes and a soup, and there were also pancakes. 5 days later, the team entered the border of India. They started to set up camp at noon because they had just crossed an unknown river. The river was very wide, and the current was not fast. It was also not very deep. The deepest part was less than 4 meters. Xiao Bei said it himself. Su Yilong, who did not know how to swim, was dragged to the shore by the little guys. He felt that he had an illusion before. The team led by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wen were not elites who were familiar with the mountainous terrain. Although the speed of walking on the mountainous terrain was fast and very stable, compared to swimming, it was really a far cry. Previously, when the current was fast, they formed a line. This time, when the current was slow, they all went down to swim. The logistics personnel even had all kinds of tools. They actually put the pot on the water, put something in the pot, and pushed it across the river. There was also the infantry cannon that weighed more than 400 kilograms. How could more than 20 people carry it over? Some people went back and forth a few times, and all the things they carried were transported over. This was clearly the Navy. They were wearing clothes and were not affected by the river water. When he was dragged over by Xiao Bei and the others, he felt that he could also try to swim, so he let them let go first. As a result, his body sank directly. It was too scary. And when he was dragged over, Xiao Bei let the other 8 little guys drag him temporarily while he caught a fish. He thought that it was just like catching a chicken on land. It was too easy. Xiao Bei, how did you practice to be so good at swimming? After changing clothes, Su Yilong, who started to wash the clothes before, asked Xiao Bei, who was also washing clothes. When she heard Su Yilong's words, she tilted her head and thought for a while. Then, she shook her head. I don't know. I forgot. It's just like that. I heard from them that my brother put me in the water at that time. At first, I looked up and floated happily. Later, when I was a little older, I swam next to my brother and listened to him sing while lying on the water. But I don't remember. How do you lie on the water? Is it like this? Su Yilong stretched out both arms with palms facing down. Xiao Bei shook his head. No, it's like this. Xiao Bei retracted his arms and put his hands under his neck. Wei Wei raised her head. Su Yilong followed suit, and her face changed immediately. Why didn't you sink? Does anyone dare to lie in the water like this? You just need to move your feet a little. Of course, your feet will sink if you don't move. You're so stupid. Think about it. Lying on the water and listening to brother sing is so blissful. Xiao Bei felt that he could not scold Su Yilong anymore. Her IQ was too low. Su Yilong nodded and admitted that she was stupid and could not speak reason. The only thing she knew was that some people really could not be looked at with common sense. She was talented and could not be jealous. Then why do all the people in your family know how to swim? Su Yilong stopped talking about Xiao Bei and changed the topic to other people. It's a request. I heard from my sister that brother doesn't want anyone to have an accident in the water. You will know if you go to Sanshui County. Every once in a while, there will be people patrolling the river or the river. They are afraid that other people's children will fall and drown. So when the children in Sanshui County say that they want to go out to play, the adults are relieved when they know that they are going to the river. It's not like other places where the children say that they want to go to the river to play and the adults don't let them. After Xiao Bei finished speaking, he continued to rub his clothes. He looked very serious. Su Yilong said understandingly, if it were me, I would also be willing to let the children play by the river in Sanshui County. It's safe and stable. Everyone changed their clothes and began to bathe in batches. Xiao Bei felt very uncomfortable because he could not bathe for a few days. He set up his tent here and did not plan to move forward again today. The cooks who had bathed first began to set up pots and ran upstream to catch fish with nets. Zhang Xiaobao had good news. They could already use telegrams to directly contact the army on this road. The army hoped that they could cooperate and prevent any side from providing food supplies to the reinforcements of Duo Shi, who were forced to retreat in the northwest. That's right. Previously, the Duo Eater army didn't dare to cross the river and was defeated instead. After they gathered by the river, they were surrounded. Our people actually opened up a gap for them to call for reinforcements. Now, not only did we capture the Duo Eater in the encirclement, we also forced the enemy reinforcements to not dare to fight or retreat. Zhang Xiaobao said happily after reading the telegram. The smile on Wang Wan's face also increased. Of course they don't dare to retreat. If they retreat again, they will give up the area where they're going to harvest the food. It seems that we will have to continue to force our way to the northwest. We will run to the north bank of the Naga River and choose a key area to patrol along the river. We will not let any supplies from the Indian side pass through. At the same time, we will stop the Duo Shi people from escaping to cross the river when we attack this line. With that said, Wang Wan opened the map and pointed at the river basin. This time, they could be considered to have completed the strategic deployment with their attacking troops. No matter what, it was impossible to determine a perfect strategy before this. The battle situation could change at any time. Controlling a supply line that might appear and blocking the Duo Shi people's path of retreat was a very important strategic arrangement. If their troops did not come, they would not have been able to control this line. The Duo Shi people were fighting across borders. They had arranged for manpower in the Indian territory. Originally, it was to attack the Tibetan Lhasa city from this side. Now, it was changed to defense to contain their troops. Otherwise, their troops would continue to head northwest. After crossing the Indian River, they would directly attack the Duo Shi people's territory diagonally. Wang Wan still thought highly of this opponent. She said, as expected of the country that once defeated our Tang army, their strategic deployment is pretty good. The history book said that they made a small country betray us and caused us to suffer a crushing defeat. This time, they also know how to contact India and help them resupply. But we are here. Our troops are too conservative. Why should we control the Naga River? Send a telegram back and tell them that we will march parallel to them to the northwest. We will resupply the horses there. Let them only push forward when the logistics can keep up. The Duo Shi people will not know about this. We will control the airspace. The speed of the other people on the land is not as fast as us. Someone immediately went to send a report. Zhang Xiaobao came over to look at the map. He stretched out his hand to measure the distance and said hesitantly, "It's too far. We have to cross the Naga River first, then continue to head northwest and cross the Indian River. Just the journey alone will take more than 2 months. And that is under the condition that we have sufficient animal power. You can use a few years for an economic attack. Is 2 months too long for a military attack?" Wang Wan said as she rolled her eyes at Zhang Xiaobao. Chapter 13:20. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also heard about Su Yilong and her brother Xiao Yuan's poetry gambling. The two just smiled and did not pay much attention to it. They knew that it was impossible for Xiao Yuan to take the initiative to propose a bet. It must be Su Yilong who wanted to make some money. Moreover, Su Yilong was asked to come over to play with the little guys. Back then, Su Yilong had planned to find additional opportunities to earn money while playing with Xiao Bei and the others. In the end, she did not bring him along. The investment amount of the little guys was too large. He wanted to participate, but he could not afford the capital. After leaving Yizhou, it was even more impossible for him to find opportunities to make money. Earning money in the 6 Zhao places? That was all bartering. He could only follow and watch. Now that he was really upset, he wanted to compete with the little guys and earn some money to comfort himself. Moreover, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also clearly knew that Su Yilong seemed to admire the 9 little guys very much. She was shocked by the previous contact. Along the way, she always wanted to find an opportunity to show her ability. In that case, let them play. Although it was also gambling on poetry was better than gambling on dice. Actually, I have always thought that gambling is not good. Zhang Xiaobao said along with Su Yilong and Xiao Yuan's gambling. Wang Wan did not say anything. She blinked twice and stared at Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao was embarrassed by her stare and said, "Gambling without a purpose is not good. I used to gamble with a purpose. Do you agree? The purpose of gambling is to win. Everyone is the same. Don't find excuses. That dice made you listen. You really don't feel ashamed." Wang Wan admired Zhang Xiaobao's gambling skills, but she would not agree with Zhang Xiaobao, who said that the purpose of gambling is to win. Is there no one who deliberately loses money? For example, you relied on your identity and found that you had no money in hand. What should you do? Isn't it? It's fine as long as I catch you. You have money, so I don't need to gamble with others. Actually, I can make money by catching people. Moreover, I don't need to go through that kind of soul-stirring process and frighten others. Wang Wan said to Zhang Xiaobao with a smile. She pointed to the circle on the map and asked, "Have you thought of a way? Gambling? How do you know?" Zhang Xiaobao revealed a shocked expression, and his body even moved backwards to hide, giving people the feeling that his thoughts had been seen through. Wang Wan leaned forward. "I'm your wife. You've already reminded me. Otherwise, why would you mention Xiao Yuan and Su Yilong's gambling for no reason? Would you care about winning or losing a few hundred hits? Husband, am I right? Don't. Many people are watching." Zhang Xiaobao had a bashful look on his face. The people around him didn't look at him and didn't move their ears. Obviously, they were used to it. If it were other rich people, this would be very rude. However, they felt that it was normal for their young master and young lady to flirt together. Only mortals would care about other people's thoughts, while little immortals were unrestrained. Moreover, although the two people were so intimate, the plan that came out during the intimate process was accompanied by blood. Listening to it could also increase one's knowledge. The people beside the donkey cart, including the donkey pulling the cart, were very calm. Zhang Xiaobao was even more calm. Seeing Wang Wan's beautiful big eyes staring at him, he said gently, "Madam, you've seen through my little plan. Since that's the case, why don't we have an in-depth communication?" "Okay." Wang Wan's voice was even more charming. "Husband, how do you want to communicate? How we go in depth? For example, we can compete with them in hunting in the mountains and diving in the lake. The two of us and the 9 little guys will participate. I believe that Xiao Bei and the rest won't drop the ball at the crucial moment." Zhang Xiaobao said, That's deep enough. How do we communicate?" Wang Wan also did not doubt that her younger brother and sister would be worse than others in the water, especially Xiao Bei, whose talent in the water was almost demonic. After this battle, they would go back and hold a large-scale sports meet between the Tang Empire and the surrounding countries. Then, they would let Xiao Bei participate in water sports, such as diving, swimming, and so on. They would use a video recorder to record it and show it to the people of the Tang Empire. Zhang Xiaobao also had the same idea. He wanted to add a few more sports, such as shooting. When the others were absent, the people of his country could compete by themselves. He and Wang Wan could also participate in the frisbee game. He had not played for a long time and missed it. "What else?" Wang Wan asked again. "I plan to get their people to follow the team. Otherwise, it would be a pity to kill them. To be honest, when you mention Tisper, I don't think of India, but chronicles of the western regions. It also says that the current ruling class is no longer the same as when the little monk came out. The previous leader of the Kamal Nagbo kingdom has changed. And I remember that around this region, the religions are very chaotic. Of course, it's not as chaotic as my Chinese religion. When a religion exists in a place, not only does it show that there are different beliefs, but also reflects war, bloodshed, and sacrifice. The conflicts between religions are no different from the conflicts between countries. And some countries are religious countries themselves. Since that's the case, why can't we help them? Can we bear to see them suffer in this place, be despised, bullied, and then live a difficult life?" As Zhang Xiaobao finished speaking, the corners of his mouth turned down and his head tilted up. His eyes were filled with unyielding grief and anger. "You want me to vomit, don't you? Just say that you plan to trick them into working as laborers. Why do you need to find so many excuses? Indeed, it's no longer the era of the Kamal. It's been replaced by the Maricha clan. The entire region is very large, including a section of the Ganges. Even in our time, it hasn't changed much. The caste system still exists. It's a very important aspect of the Two Rivers Basin in India. Tell me your complete plan. Don't mention anything about helping others. Look, even the donkey is laughing. What Wang Wan wanted to hear now was Zhang Xiaobao's comprehensive plan. Just now, he had tapped his face with his fingers for a while. She hadn't seen him like this for a long time. She definitely wouldn't believe that he didn't have a series of plans that could be used to scheme against others. Zhang Xiaobao became shy for a moment. No, there's no comprehensive plan. I just want to deal with the other party's 3,000 people first. Look, they helped Duosher. I've already guessed the reason. It's probably because Duosher promised them that after occupying Lhasa City, he would continue to occupy Qinghai Lake. In this way, we can provide an endless supply of salt to others. Living in this era where people start a war for salt, I don't know if I should be happy or sad for those who died in battle. Wang Wan first glared at Zhang Xiaobao and said, I know about the salt, but your purpose is definitely not that simple. It's just like the economic invasion plan against Duosher that can be implemented immediately. Then you wait and see if that's the case. Zhang Xiaobao didn't say anything. He looked like a dead pig that wasn't afraid of boiling water. Let's wait and see. Are you planning to give salt to these 3,000 people? Wang Wan asked. She felt that if Zhang Xiaobao really used salt as a bet, the other party wouldn't be able to resist. Salt was really too cheap and too expensive. During her and Xiaobao's time, no one would buy a lot of salt and table salt. Of course, industrial salt needed a lot. The salt they ate was too much. The least valuable thing was salt. It was the same all over the world. It wasn't because salt couldn't make money, but because no one dared to use salt to make money. Many countries were destroyed by salt. As long as a salt tax was collected in every dynasty, as long as a portion of people controlled the price of salt, it meant that the dynasty was about to end. Salt was the most basic standard to measure social stability. It was more forward-looking than food. The lack of food was the fundamental impetus for a country's instability. The rise in the price of salt was the beginning of the instability. It was such a common thing that no one could live without. Therefore, the people who enjoyed the low price of salt should be grateful to this regime. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's thoughts were the same. So the words he replied at this moment were also in line with Wang Wan's thoughts. I want to give them some salt first, then bet on their ability to survive in the jungle and mountains, the ability to dive and catch fish, or the speed of swimming, etc. If they win, we'll keep half of the salt and guarantee that the salt they eat in the future will be free. What if we win? Wang Wan played along and asked. If we win, they have to follow our team forward. We'll provide them with the salt they need along the way, and they'll help us hunt and pick wild vegetables. At the same time, after we win, we can still provide them with a large amount of salt, but they have to work in exchange. As long as they work for a day, they can get 20 to 100 grams of salt, depending on their efficiency and the danger of the work. For example, mining. In just 12 hours of mining, they can get 100 grams of salt, 100 grams. Zhang Xiaobao said seriously, as if the reward was very high. Do you dare to say this to the people of our time? 100 grams is equal to 2 taels of salt, right? A good well was 5 yuan per caddy, so you can earn 1 yuan per day for mining, right? A caddy of ordinary northeastern rice is more than 7 yuan. Wang Wan was amused by Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao's expression was so serious that it made people feel that it was not 100 grams of salt, but gold. Zhang Xiaobao was discouraged and said with a smile, I'm telling the truth. You can't always use the rules of another era to measure the things in front of you. I know that salt is worthless and gasoline and diesel are worthless. Maritime satellite phones have been eliminated because all mobile phones are directly connected to satellites and have global coverage. The problem is, do you have it now? If you really want to talk about it, who will give me my yachts and private jets? Do I need to take a donkey cart? I'm not here to experience life as a tourist. This is the happiness and sorrow of the era, and the helplessness and suffering under the suppression of technology. Let's help them. I think we can just use salt to open the road in the future. We don't need to exchange other goods, especially your follow-up economic means. Why use this and that? Salt is enough, Wang once said. No, there needs to be luxury goods for the upper class. The better the upper class enjoys, the angrier the people are. When a regime is rotten to a certain extent, it is the moment they enjoy the best luxury goods. Take this opportunity to attack them, and their people will no longer support their upper class. When the people of a country ruled by a regime are living well, and the power of the ruler is restricted, you must not attack. You can't win, just like America. Wang Wan did not wait for Zhang Xiaobao to finish and said 2 words. Chapter 13:21. The team continued to move forward. In the evening, they found a spacious place to set up camp and sent out scouts to spread out in all directions. In the middle of the night, the scout at the front came back and reported that he had found signs of human activity in the area. There was the light of torches. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not expect to be so close to the other side. According to the distance and the time it took for the scouts to travel, they estimated that they had only traveled about 20 miles. While telling the scouts to rest, Zhang Xiaobao got up to discuss with Wang Wan. What's there to talk about? Who said that all people can only live together? 3,000 people. Do you think this lousy place is suitable for so many people to live together? What the scouts saw should be a small group of people with a bad status in the group. They are arranged to live outside. When they encounter danger, they have to report to the people inside. If they encounter an enemy, they can resist for a while. Moreover, there must be flat land around the people inside, suitable for farming. Wang Wan analyzed from the social hierarchy. Zhang Xiaobao thought about it and said, if it were me, I would be very willing to live outside, especially the river next to it. I would rather guard than go back and live with more people. I don't need many. Just give me 100 people to manage. That's enough. You stay, we'll go back. You use salt to hire 100 people. I'll come and see you in 3 years. Wang Wan smiled and said to Zhang Xiaobao, bickering, what I mean is development. What development can we get by staying in a ditch? How can we expect a Brahmaputra river? Every year, the floods will confuse them, not to mention how to use it. What is this place? Look, it's going to rain again. The weather is so stuffy. They live here and really rely on the weather to make a living. It was not easy to grow wheat, but when the heavy rain comes, it will be washed away. Who cares? It's different outside. For example, on the road we came here, there's a large plain formed by the river. This river is not very wide, the current is not very fast, and the deepest place when crossing the river is only about 4 meters. Find a place with a more stable mountain to build a house, then raise cattle, sheep, pigs, and poultry, such as ducks and geese. Build terraced fields on the mountains opposite, plant wheat, and grow rice in the alluvial land below. Is it better to set up wooden rafts on the river, hang fishing nets, dry the fish caught in the nets, and store the food than not being close to the river? How good is your life? Zhang Xiaobao went along with his own thoughts. He felt that the locals did not know how to live and would not become rich. They threw away all their advantages and squeezed there to live. Now that there was no strategic location there, why bother? As Wang Wan listened to Zhang Xiaobao, she suddenly thought of Sanshui County. At that time, it was only a medium-sized county. The river did not connect to the capital. Life at home was not bad. It was close to the mountains and the water. The life of a farmer was far worse than that of the people in the capital. What should be used was not used. It was not that the locals did not want to use it, but they did not know how to. They were used to a way of life. If they wanted change, they needed a lot of courage and courage. If it were not for her and Xiaobao, perhaps the life of a farmer would still be the same. Sanshui County would still be the original Sanshui County. How could it become the first county of Tang dynasty? Wait for the future. Wang Wan heard the thunder outside, but she was not worried. When they set up camp, they had already considered the situation. There was no danger at all, even if it was raining heavily. Wait for the future? Zhang Xiaobao began to put on his coat. During the day, He was not tired sitting in the carriage. At night, he had rested enough. Now was the time to take a look at the camp, especially the little ones. When they saw the rain, they ran out excitedly. Wang also put on her coat. She was not wearing the normal clothes of this era. Those kinds of clothes were strenuous. Now, it was popular to use buttons and chains. After putting on her coat, she said to Zhang Xiaobao, "When we occupy this place in the future, you can tell the Tang people your idea and let them build it. They can even build a simple dam. We can't count on the locals. They don't know how to build dams. Our Tang people are smart. When there is no cement and steel, they can build dams one after another. Why do we need special high-grade cement to reinforce the canals? Wisdom. That's right. We are so smart. India is so poor. After more than 1,000 years of development, they want to compete with us? It will tire them out. But it is because they are stupid that many species that have disappeared from our place are preserved. Our people are too smart. Animals and plants are no match for us. Today, there is one species. Tomorrow, there will be two pairs. Then, when we talk about something, we look at Bangladesh and India. I really can't say whether it is right or wrong. Zhang Xiaobao really looked down on the people here. He felt that they were not a threat and could be bullied whenever he wanted. After so many years of development, China did not even have a place of its own. India still had a large area of empty land and a large population. How could it be crowded? The most interesting thing was that as a Buddhist country, they did not have their own historical records. They had to write their own history based on other people's records. How sad was this? An ordinary civilization could not do this. Thinking of history, Zhang Xiaobao could not help but laugh. Wang was puzzled. When she walked out of the tent, she asked, "Are you very happy?" "Just SOSO." When the little monk came, he made people speechless. He called the Mayana God, liberating God, and so on. Later, when I write a travel book, India will use it to compile its own history. Now, let's have someone write a history and tell the Indians that they used to be slaves of the Tang dynasty. They should continue to be slaves. Anyway, they still have the slave system now. How much trouble can we save, right? Zhang Xiaobao chuckled as he spoke of his idea. It was as if he was very happy to be able to fool others. Wang stood outside and looked at the sky. There was no trace of the moon and stars. It was pitch black. The sound of the diesel generator could be heard. The searchlight shone up and dark clouds could be seen rolling in the sky. After hearing Zhang Xiaobao's words, she curled her lips. How free. If you have the time, why don't you let people write books? Our textbooks are much worse, especially the basic language. There are very few good articles. Children learn from the moment they are born. Their intelligence can't keep up. Do you think they are like Xiaoyuan? Children waste a lot of time on the basics of language. Why don't you design more books for language teaching? To put it more bluntly, when they grow up, they can slowly learn more things. When that time comes, those who don't want to learn don't learn. It's not necessary to write the book of songs to be amazing. You can also launch satellites into the sky. That's where you are wrong. People who have the ability to launch satellites have a good foundation in literature. At the same time, they have a solid foundation in foreign languages. For example, people like me are better at learning foreign languages. Zhang Xiaobao praised himself without blushing. You're trying to fool people, not to launch satellites. Oh, you can also say that you're trying to launch satellites. Do you know Indian? The little monk came over and had a good communication. Wang thought of a problem. Not to mention here, there were many dialects that she could not learn. How did Tang Sung speak to people in the past? One language could be used everywhere. Zhang Xiaobao puffed up his chest and said, "I do know a little Indian language and I can still use it now." The Indian language hasn't changed much, just like our Tang dynasty. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to understand the poem at all. When I read it, I realized that the rhythm and other things are exactly the same. It's just that the pronunciation of the words needs to be read according to the poem. For example, slant can be read as xia, hui can be read as huan, and huai, and so on. It's much easier than memorizing words. Then when you meet the other party, you will be in charge of communicating. If you can't, get someone to find Chronicles of the Western Regions and compare it to the situation. Wang Wan gave Zhang Xiaobao a task. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head and nodded. I can communicate with the other party, but I can't compare it to what the little monk wrote. It's too fake. After he translated it, I can't read it. It feels like the people here are like us and can speak classical Chinese casually. Who am I trying to fool? I took a few glances and then stopped. It's boring and I don't need it. I'm not here to have a normal cultural and technological exchange with them. As the two of them were talking, the rain poured down. The two of them put on their raincoats and rain boots and strolled around the tents. Xiao Bei and the others woke up as expected. They also put on their raincoats and stood outside the big tent to look at the sky. Every time there was a flash of lightning in the sky, they would cover their ears and wait for the sound of thunder. The rumbling sound seemed very interesting to them. If you don't enter the tent, do you want to be struck by lightning? When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came over, the little guys didn't notice. They were startled by Zhang Xiaobao's shout. Oh, I thought there was a sudden thunder in our ears. We came out to take a look. It's stuffy inside the tent, so the lightning won't strike us. There are lightning rods set up higher up. In fact, we want to see how the lightning looks when it hits the lightning rods. Brother, you said that lightning is also electricity. If we can use it, then we don't need to use other things to generate electricity, right? Xiao Bei stepped on the gathered water and jumped in front of Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao nodded first and then shook his head. Lightning is indeed electricity, and the voltage and current are not small. If the electricity of one lightning bolt can be stored, it will definitely be enough for more than 10,000 people to use for half a year. But because there is too much energy, we don't have a way to store it. It comes and goes quickly, unless there's a way to slow down the speed of the lightning when it disappears unnaturally. If there is such a technique, it is enough for us to collect more energy. Why do we have to focus on collecting lightning? Oh, is it because our technique is not good enough? Xiao Bei said disappointedly. Yes, you're still far from it. It's not easy to conquer nature. Moreover, there are many masterpieces in nature. For example, in movies, under the circumstances of special topography and rock structure, as well as the current thunderstorm, some images and sounds can be recorded. When the next thunderstorm occurs, it can be reproduced. It is the same principle as the equipment we use to shoot movies. Humans learn a lot of things when they adapt and study nature. So, the subject of nature is not simple. Zhang Xiaobao explained to his younger siblings. We can already film, but we are here. I don't know if it will be screened. I want to film many movies in the future, Xiao Bei said. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.